And welcome everyone to another Unscripted and Unchained RPG review. This is really a special day for the channel. If anybody can jump in the chat and tell me if you can hear me right now, that would be a great help because I have been struggling to get. I've been struggling to get. Unscripted and Unchained. Nope, it is working. All right. So I've been struggling to get the new mic working and everything. So I believe it is working, although it's kind of weird because, I just upgraded my microphone. Just got it literally like 10 minutes ago in, with the UPS delivery. But I cannot hear talking coming through my speakers as far as I know while the mic is plugged in. So that is a little bit confusing. But if the audio sounds good without popping or anything like that, please, please just give me a thumbs up on it. And if anyone wants to jump in so I can hear you coming through the speakers on the computer, that would be awesome too. Otherwise, I have a backup with my iPad here and I can listen into your talking back and forth. So anyway, I already have some people in the chat here. So my ear trumpet, good to see you as always. And, thank you very much for all of the generosity that you show, to the channel, not just in membership gifting that you're, frequently do, but just in being here and, chatting in the chat boxes and making comments in the comment sections and just all around, just being around with the channel, engaging with me, and whether it's game talk or whatnot, whether it's here or on Discord, I really do appreciate your continued support. And here we go with Edgelord King, good to see you again, my friend. And all of my favorite shows are on at once. Happy anniversary. So thank you very much for that. I know that there are several and we'll be bouncing around or whatnot, but I can't change the date. Today is the anniversary of the channel. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I hope that you're all getting good sound quality because I have, upgraded my mic. I guess I was having trouble with the other mic and still have to finish checking out this thing and seeing how it integrates with XSplit because right now it's kind of weird. I cannot hear, I can't hear anything coming through my computer and my speakers attached to the computer, but I can hear things coming through on the iPad. So I know you're getting good sound quality. So I'm glad to have improved that. Maybe the next step will be get another new camera that gives you a better picture, a better view of everything that I'm covering here on the channel. But anyway, let's see. So, hey, Jax. Hey, Jax, good to see you. Well, I don't know if I'm the hardest working man, and I certainly, if this is work, I certainly enjoy work. But thank you very much. Hitting the 4,000 subs was a big milestone, and then it's been growing exponentially ever since. So now I can go to the channel analytics and just talk about where it stands for the past year, and some of the big events that and videos that over this past year, the most popular videos on the channel. So I'm certainly looking to do that. If any of you want to come in from, on the backstage, you are welcome to do so. Let me just get that invite going, and anyone is welcome to come on in and have a chat. And there it is. So So yeah, it's been a really a great year for the channel, and just going over some of the just going over some of the content that really uh, gained your attention. I will be going over that in a moment as well. But let me just get to some of the gifting already. So, my ear trumpet has gifted a membership over to, and this went to Bolo from Avilas. All right, so welcome and congratulations on that. And so let's talk a little bit about the numbers, um, and the engagement, because that is really what I thrive on as a, when I struggle to call myself a creator, but what I thrive on is that engagement. And when people come in and they're commenting in the comment section, I really do appreciate that the most, because it drives my content forward. Sometimes people will come in and they'll say, hey, have you taken a look at this particular game yet? And then I'll look into it. And if it's something I already have, or if it's something that is, easily accessible for me to purchase, then I will do so. And then I'll start covering it. Or, if people come in and they'll say, hey, can you run a particular game? And again, if I already have it, I will always try to find a time to bring new players in to my table. It is a virtual table, so people that I play with, I'm playing with them online. And then when I go to conventions, because that's my other big activity in the hobby, at this point is I go to conventions. I go to about 5 conventions every year. Mostly local conventions. So these are, within 4 hours of me. I am in central New York, the central Hudson region of New York. So anything in New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts. I haven't been to too many in Jersey, but I've been to Page and Philadelphia. That's about as far as I've gone thus far. But everything is within a 4-hour range of me. And if you're a convention organizer and you'd like for me to attend, just reach out. Let me know. Hey, I don't ask for anything, in return, just the invitation, and I will gladly go if it's within my ability to do so, and check out your convention and whatnot. So I am open to more than just the 5, but that's where I probably wouldn't go to more than very local ones, more than probably 7 or 8 for the year. So let's see. I got my PDF copy of Shadow Dark this Christmas for myself. I never see it in stores in Australia, but I see it mentioned often on on the internet. Yeah, I mean, Shadow Dark is an incredible game system, particularly for convention play. That's where I cut my teeth on Shadow Dark. The first time that I ever ran it was in a convention setting, and I literally only had the book itself for about a week or two before page 2 is when I ran it. And or maybe it was even page 1. It was actually page 1 in 2023 when I ran it. And what a phenomenal experience that was running it. And then I ran it again at page 2, and that's when I met Kelsey Dion, and she signed my copy of the book, and I was running it exclusively there. She actually came to my table when I was running it. It was a high point of many high points at page 2. So yeah, just an incredible experience for me, going to conventions and running games at conventions. And it's become a major part of what my channel does, because I will bring on convention organizers to drum up excitement about their upcoming conventions. And I'll be doing that again for the next convention I'm attending, which is Rising Phoenix in Massachusetts in April. And I will bring Scott back on again to really boost up the convention that I'm attending. And then I'll do that again for the upcoming conventions I have in June, both AutoCon and also CNY. That's the Central New York RPG Con in Utica, New York, also in June. And I will spend a lot of time boosting those up. And then my next one after that is ShireCon in September, also in Connecticut. And looking forward to that one. As always, Tom is a great organizer, and there's so many great people that go to that one. You can check my back catalog of videos to see, all of my content just on ShireCon alone, or just on Rising Phoenix, or Central New York RPG Con, or even AutoCon, which is a tiny, tiny convention here in my hometown of Pleasant Valley. So I spend a lot of time boosting the signal for the conventions that I attend to, and for those convention organizers that are just, over the top, great individuals, great ambassadors for the hobby, the tabletop role-playing hobby in general. Now, most of those conventions are also a wide variety of game systems, so not just the one or two major big hitters out there, but many OSR and independent game systems as well, which my channel is primarily focused on OSR and independent games. I spend very little time talking about either Pathfinder or D&D 5e and moving forward. So yeah, that's what this channel has really been focused on from the start. So anyway, let me give out some numbers here, and remember, chat, to hit like and subscribe. Yeah, thank you very much, my ear trumpet. Yeah, and remember, you can jump in if you want to. So if any of my players are going to stop in, just hit the link, come on in, or I will cycle that invite in through several times anyway. So the numbers for the channel. All right, and I'll look here as well. So just these. Now, this doesn't include today. All right, so that's the way that their 365 Outlook works. I will just refresh this anyway. So my channel got 298,000 views this past year. That is 107% more than the previous year. So twice the number of views. And that's what I talked about, like, exponential growth. When you hit some of those milestones, like someone had congratulated me for hitting 4,000 subscribers. All right, I'm at 4,572 as I speak right now. So the exponential growth that takes place when you hit certain milestones is really quite incredible. So the watch time in hours over this past year is 13% higher. It's about 15,700, 15.7 thousand hours of watch time. I've gained 920 subscribers, something like 20 subscribers just the other day, or just in the past, since Christmas. I've gained over 20 subscribers in just the last couple of days since Christmas. So it's been booming. That is 51% more than the previous year. I don't worry so much, and I do not focus on how much the estimated revenue is, but even that has been up for this past year. Basically, this hobby of mine, running this channel, basically gives me enough to continue to to upgrade some of my equipment, like I just did with my mic. It also helps cover hotel costs if I am going to a 1 day or overnight convention, and it certainly helps in me being able to pay for the $125 a month service that I have, and also allows me to buy some gaming content that I then just recirculate back into the channel as well. So it has really been a great time these past 9 years. It's really quite amazing, because my first year, all right, so that would be December 30th of 2016 was the first time that I uploaded a video on the channel. And for my first year, I had 36 subscribers. And this wasn't even called Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. That did not come until the following year. So roughly December 30th of 2017 is when I kind of rebranded the channel and became Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. And ever since then, the growth has been from year to year to year, just keeps on expanding. So I see some other faces in here. So RPG Grandma, I'm too unpredictable with my channel to expect much growth. I am also not trying to monetize. Mostly, I just want to do it for fun right now, and that's how I pretty much have been. I've never really worried too much about being monetized. Certainly not in the beginning. I don't think I monetized until 2020. Was, I think, the first year that I monetized, roughly around like November, or no, I'm sorry, it was February of 2020, somewhere around then is when I finally monetized. I finally hit that number, and it was also the first time that I started publishing some adventures on DriveThruRPG as well, which I've really fallen off from. But the DriveThruRPG link, the affiliate link that I have, really does help me buy new content for the channel as well. So I super appreciate all of you, contributing that way as well. Just by using the link, it costs you nothing more, and it does give me a little bit of a kickback, and it allowed me to buy some recent materials that you will see on the channel as well. So I'm just super appreciative of everyone who has been supporting the channel for, whether it's just for the last couple of days or all of these years. Whether you're just passing through, and if you come through several times and then you decide to subscribe, I appreciate you a great deal. For my members, the people that are actually contributing as members, that is a great, a great encouragement for me to continue to produce more and more for you. And I just love it. Commercials. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can do anything about that. I'm pretty sure I didn't set it up where there's mid-roll commercials. Commercials are kind of hard to kind of filter out. I apologize for that. But it is a, part of the game, I guess. Thank you so much, My Ear Trumpet, for that. $5 Australian, much appreciative. And let's see, commercials. Yeah, I'm sorry, RPG Grandma. There's no way. Yeah, once that is the one downside to monetizing, is that once once you're in there and they want to get their money from your time as well. But hopefully they're skippable. I hate when they put in unskippable as well. And I usually try to shut those down if I can. Sometimes if the video is short enough, it won't even accept mid rolls, which I like. But yeah, your videos have to be like under 8 minutes, and I don't get that much engagement. I don't think people really, if it's not a short, if it's like 5 minutes long, it's like people don't want to watch a 5 minute long, video. They'll watch a 3 minute or they'll watch a 15 minute, not so much anywhere in between. Breakthrough video, OSR must bend the knee. How about no was the first video I saw yours responding to J. Scott Garibay. Yeah. I will actually, let me see what the top videos were. So in the past year, here are my top 10 videos. All right. So number one video, which I'm really shocked by this because it's a recent video, November 14th, 2025, Dragon Slayer RPG by Greg Gillespie. And that got 5,932 views. So 5,932. That is the number one spot. Number two, when could you play D&D with a Trump supporter, a response video? That was 4,949. The Codex Classicum, Ancient Greece and Rome for Castles and Crusades, that was on December 20th, 2025, and that was 3,183. How would I run AD&D for the modern player? Episode 1, that was January 1st of 2025, so really the first video of this year. That was 2,903. Then Daggerheart, the flow of the game is totally off. So my criticism of Daggerheart was made my top 5, and that was 2,715. Then should you be running Shadow Dark in 2025? And that was 2,694. That was back on December 27th of 2024. Then Mystical Companions for Castles and Crusades by Troll Lord Games, December 7th, 2025. And that was 2629. Then Tomb of the Unclean, Troll Lord Games, December 17th. That was 2621. Then Hyperborea 3rd edition by Jeffrey Talanian. That was 2371. That was back in October of this year. Then Acts 2. So Adventure Conqueror King, 2nd edition, Judge's Screen and Inserts, 2,284 views on that there. So like I said, it's just been, a really great year. And so many of those videos, again, are just content that is usually not covered on other much larger YouTube channels that are dedicated to tabletop role playing. I have a lot of Castles and Crusades, obviously. I have other game systems that you just won't see on those others. And it's not a slight on them. It's just that this is an OSR channel. This is an independent TTRPG channel. And you're not going to see this kind of content on those 100,000 plus subscriber channels, right? They're going to focus on either their own little clique of content creators or 5e or Pathfinder or whatever, whatever big one. I mean, most of them don't even touch Warhammer, which is larger than both of those things combined, but they really don't touch on Warhammer at all. So that's probably because they're reaching out to a predominantly American audience. However, I have viewers from all around the world, and so I really do appreciate that. The fact that I do get people from Europe and Australia and elsewhere that are coming in on the channel and chatting along and just participating and driving my love for this hobby forward. So let's see. We will see. Will we see more interviews in 2026? Absolutely. I want to reach out to Greg Gillespie before I see him again because I am at CNY RPG Con in June, because his game is the game that I'm running as my Tuesday night, every Tuesday night go-to game right now. So we're getting ready to start Dragon Slayer next Tuesday. So January 6th, we start our new campaign. I've been doing a lot for it and just looking forward to it. Let's see. Who else am I looking to? I'd love to have Jeffrey Talanian on. I've had Alexander Macris on before, but he's certainly welcome to come on anytime he wants. I'm waiting to get, I'd love to have James Raggy come on. He just recently sent me this whole set. Most of it I bought, but a good 4 or 5 of these books he actually sent to me as review copies. I mean, particularly the one that stunned me was this copy of Nebulith. So Zach Smith and Alex Hobson. I'm really looking forward to digging into this thing, and he also gave me some of the stuff that he gave me just as review copies were insane. I was like, oh my gosh, it just blew my mind. Now, unfortunately, my mic was total crap for that video. I might have to redo that video and just go through the stuff that he sent me, because the whole thing with that video was just the mic was popping and all kinds of just bad. So I apologize for that, but I did want to get that out, but I will redo that video. Let's see. Oddly, my Star Frontiers basic rule book read through is doing good, but the one I entitled "Go F Yourself" did well too on the game review. Well, that's the thing is that RPG Grandma and everyone that is here, if you are not subscribed to her channel, you need to go over there. I mean, she is doing such an incredible job of just going through Star Frontiers, practically, section by section, and just, breaking it down. And you can see her love of that game system in every one of those videos. And I encourage you to do so and check it out. There are other YouTube channels that I follow and that I promote that you should definitely check out as well. And you can find those on my channel in all of the featured channels. So when you go to my channel's homepage, you will see those featured channels right up there front and center, and definitely check out those. And I will always promote channels that I just follow religiously, and whether they're larger than mine or smaller than mine, but I try to keep them within the same area of my interest as well, which is OSR and independent gaming. So let's see. You're hearing some popping in the audio now. All right. I don't know if maybe I'm just talking louder, and maybe that's triggering it. I also don't have the foam cover on this just yet, and that should also prevent that. Yeah, nicely sent you a copy of Nebulith. that was the book that brought me into the table at Gen Con, worth picking up. Yeah, he also sent me a copy of, the 3 book. Almost dropped them off of there. The True Relation of the Great Virginia Disastrum of 1633, all 3 books here. And that's phenomenal. That's, like I said, he really shocked me with the freebies that he gave me to review. So I'm just waiting to get through this week and start actually digging into those things. So let's see, who else do we have here? There is a popping for sure. All right. I can't hear it on mine. Let me see. Like I said, he really shocked me with the freebies that he gave me to review. So maybe I'll just push it back a little bit and see. If not, like I said, I don't have the sponge covering it yet. That'll be the next thing I pick up and get it there. You need to do some promotions back to. Yeah, that's much appreciated as well. I like to support smaller channels and make sure I send anybody that's following me, check out those channels that I follow, because I follow them for a reason as well. Hey, how's it going? Oh, wait, I just clicked off of it. How's it going, Mobius? Good to see you. And neither of those are cheap. Those were, now I spent quite a bit. I did like $160 or 160 pounds worth of purchasing. And then that gave me 20% off. And then I just learned that the way that and then he was like, I'm going to add a couple extra things in there for you to review, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And then because he had to send it in 2 separate orders, because I guess the shipping in the US, it's only up to a certain amount before you trigger, a huge cost for shipping. And so it came in 2 separate orders. And so the 2 separate orders came with, the extra freebies along with it. So I was like, holy cow, that's awesome too. So I ended up getting an extra copy of, which I bought as one of the bundles. I got an extra copy of the core rule books for Lamentations of a Flame Princess. And I'm going to be giving that to my niece on Friday. So my niece is she's a 5e game master, and I'm trying to wean her away from that. So I gave her my copy of the collector's edition of Shadow Dark from the first Kickstarter, and now I'm going to give her Lamentations to let her, take that down to Atlanta. And she will be going to Dragon Con, I think that's in September as well. Unfortunately, I can't go to too many conventions in September, but that is certainly something that I wanted to pass on to her, is the love for the OSR. Let's see. Hey, how's it going, Ultra TTRPGer? Member for 4 months, and I do really appreciate that. And I hope to be gaming with you soon too. So hopefully we can get together either on that Saturday, if you're open for Saturdays. That's with another DM, so that's not with me. And I'm going to have some fun playing OSC for the first time. Well, maybe it's not the first time I played OSC, but it's certainly the first time in a long time that I'm actually playing. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. Hey, Off Grid, how's it going? Hi. I'll be running between 2 streams. Congratulations, Richard, and on the channel's growing forward. Thank you so much, Off Grid. Off Grid is one of my players. Hopefully he can he can pop in a little bit later after the stream, after the live stream is over on whatever other channel he's watching it at. Right, your trumpet, yeah, 2 years, valued supporter. Thank you so much. Like I said, for your continued, never-ending support. It's really, really appreciated. Is that the box adventure? Don't F the priest. Yes, it is. On the bottom of the stack, yeah, I think that premiered last year. Looks cool. Yeah, I haven't even opened it yet. So I'm going to do a new video because the sound on that one was just atrocious. And like I said, that was the old mic. So let me know if you're still getting the popping. I moved it a little bit further away from me, so maybe I just have it jacked up a little too high. So I'll have to play around with the adjustments a little bit on this. And thank you very much. And thank you for the holidays. So yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and any other holiday, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever other holidays you might be celebrating during this time of the year. Thank you all for your continued support. We have another 17 months, all right, as a member. He's one of my players as well. Off Grid is a great player. And we'll be jumping into Dragon Slayer next Tuesday. All right, RPG Grandma, thanks a lot for popping in. It's always good to see you. And I'm going to continue checking out your channel and your coverage of Star Frontiers. I absolutely love that system. Well, actually, I should say I love that game. The system was a little bit like wonky here and there. I think it got better over time, but the lore of that game is just phenomenal. I would play it any day, any opportunity I had to play it, I would play it. Yeah, I moved it a little bit back. I moved it further away from me. So yeah, this one might just be much more sensitive than the older one. And so now I know the kind of the distance to keep it off, on, so I can push it as far off as I can, right to there, and it should be good. Cleared up now, probably was peaking. Yeah, it might have been. Like I said, I pushed it back like another 3 inches or so, as far back as it can go, and I was probably just a little too close. I literally unboxed this thing like 10 minutes before going live. I was like scrambling to get it to work because I can't hear this conversation through the speakers. But when I turn the mic off, at the power level, then I can hear through the speakers. Unless somebody joins in and then talks to me, then that's the only way I'll know if I can hear them. So let's see. Oh yeah, if you're just doing the announcement of how long you've been a member, then it won't let you like add anything on top of that. But that's perfectly fine too. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I know. I'm super stoked about Tuesday night's first session. Really looking forward to it. And check out the Discord. You'll see a lot of the back and forth I've been having with positive back and forth, I should say, with some other people just talking about it. I think you brought up the question actually about the Paladin's tithes. So that's gonna work in there fine. Hyperborea for the win, absolutely. And welcome, Stephen Kennedy. I'm going to give away some free memberships to the last 5 that I have for the channel. It's good that I have this mute off. So let me do that while people are still here. And let's see, there it is. and membership gifting, and I am sending the last 5 for the month, and they should be coming out there. So Mobius and Nerdy Ogre, Grokun, Shen Husun Chu, and Bingo Man Zero. So you lucky 5. And so it's great to see that you're all in here, and enjoy all of the perks of the membership, whether it's free or not. You can come to my channel, my Discord, and if I have open slots in any of the games that I'm running, then you're welcome to join in, whether it's a one-time that you can, sit in on it, or if you're going to, join in for a long period of time, you're welcome to do so as well. Yes, Nerdy Ogre got one. The swamp is deep and full of terrors. Yeah. Again, I mean, everything involving, this channel for me, both personally and as a gamer, and to extension to conventions and whatnot, has just been a phenomenal experience. Having retired in 2022, I initially thought, I'm going to be able to spend so much more time, doing this. And initially it is, yes, more time, but not as much as I thought. And then I started to realize how time consuming it actually is to run 3 sessions a week, and to still go to conventions and still run the channel and still do all of those things. And then, just working part-time 3 days a week. And there's just so much to do in this hobby that that even as being semi-retired, there's still not enough time, in a day. Plus, I have a wife and children and family and those things as well on top of it. So, but it is, it is just the gift that keeps on giving, is the connection that I have with people through this channel. And when I get a chance to see some of you at conventions in person, it's even better. And, just really do appreciate it, and just have a great time meeting people at conventions and everything. So again, I thank all of you for, just supporting, me, the channel, and the hobby in general. So let's see what else has come up. And I'm glad that my top 10 have all been, fairly positive videos, with the exception of, there was only one, and I really only do, very rarely do I do a political one. I was answering the question, so could you play D&D with a Trump supporter? Because there was an actual question out there where they were basically affirming, the person that put it out there was basically stating, no, I couldn't. And my response to that was, I don't care how you voted. I don't care what your identity is. I don't care what your political persuasion or orientation or race or gender or everyone that is looking to play the game that I am running is welcome to sit at my table, and as long as you come to my table with the goal of getting along with everybody and playing a game and just having fun, I don't care about any other issue. And that was my response to that, and it was like, I don't see that that cancel culture kind of thing being a part of our hobby, certainly not anymore. That might have been, something that was taking place in, 2019, 2020 or so, but, or possibly even a little bit earlier than that, but it has no hold any longer. And and we are all better off for it. Um, I go to smaller conventions where, the people are just there to play games, and, less likely to run into, anyone that is exclusionary. Like if you do go to one of those, super large, 10,000 plus individual conventions, then yeah, you always have a chance of running into somebody that's, that's just toxic for the hobby. So I'm glad that I have not really experienced that in my own gaming, and I very rarely come across somebody that I'm like, I wish this person wasn't at my table any longer. That's probably only happened about 3 times in the last 10 years that I have gotten really back into the tabletop role playing hobby. So yeah, it's only been 10 years. It's only been since I would say October of 2015 that I really started getting back into the tabletop role playing hobby. Prior to that, the 10 or 15 years prior to that, it was all MMOs. It was all computer gaming and computer RPGs and whatnot. And prior to that was, when I go back into the 90s and the mostly the 90s, it was console games, and it was or some of the earlier DOS computer games that were still around and everything. Like my first exposure to Elder Scrolls was Dagger. I almost said Daggerheart. Daggerfall. Daggerfall was my first introduction to that series. So yeah, it's these last 10 years have been really, really great for just me getting reconnected to the hobby that I was really connected to from 1977 through 1987 or 89ish or so. Once my core group of friends either went off to college, we all graduated in 85. But once they started peeling off and going off to college, or one of my group members went into the Navy in around 87ish or 88 or somewhere around there, like 2 years after graduation. I went into the Army in 90, so 5 years after graduation, and at that point we were no longer connected. And to be honest with you, like, I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, you were in the military, you didn't play D&D in the military." I was like, no, I mean, it was never in a unit where I even got the sense that anybody was playing tabletop role playing games. We were shooting dice or playing cards or whatnot. There was nothing like that. But my unit was a very top heavy unit to begin with. So it was a battalion headquarters that I was attached to. So most of the individuals that I was serving with, and I wasn't like super young either. I was, 23 years old when I was attached to them, and and I was still much younger than most of the people that were that were there. Most of my, I had a lot of Vietnam veterans in my unit, at the time. So it was, they were like 20 years older than me for the most part. But anyway, let's see. Someone's political affiliation shouldn't normally come up. When I play or run a game with someone, I discourage political or religious discourse, but that's me and how I run my table. I think that's how most of us probably do. And, certainly on, I don't want to even say like this side of the spectrum, but the OSR, let's say within the OSR, very few of us, I think, focus on, on what we typically get accused of as gatekeeping. the only gatekeeping I engage in is that, I require that when you're sitting at my table, you're there to play. You're not there to get into any kind of political discourse or anything. And so that's something that I think has kept my channel so positive over these last 9 years. Is that I focus on gaming, and I don't so much concern myself with what other people are doing at their tables. They're free to do at their tables whatever they want. Um, I'm going to do whatever I want at my table, and the only thing that changes what I'm doing at my table is my players, and I'm only concerned about my players, that are in my particular circle. Like I said, they can play at other tables, and whatever they're doing at those other tables is not my concern either. But when they come back to my table, it's what relationship we have at my table that I'm primarily concerned about. So yeah, I've never really gotten into the issue of politics on my channel, except for when I see cancel culture taking place. And then I'll call that out and I'll say, hey, you know what? It's like, if you're telling people don't buy my game, then don't come around and start begging people to support you when your company is floundering. All right, you're having some kind of you can't put your products out there, or you're getting hurt by the tariffs or whatever other things are going on. It's like, well, hey, I remember back in 2016, or in more recent years, 2024, the very same people are saying, oh, if you do this, then don't buy my stuff. Well, don't shoo us away, and then we will buy your stuff. And if you're shooing us away, then don't expect us to do so. And that's what I'm going on. That's what I'm dealing with. As far as when I come to my table, I just want to play. I just want to run, a game, and leave all of that stuff off to the side. It has nothing to do with what we're looking to do. Escapism is what I'm hoping takes place at my table, and not political back and forth or whatever. So let's see. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Good to see you. And again, if anyone wants to join in, there is the link. You can join in and talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. Talk about the first video you saw on my channel if you want to. Or if anything you want to see from this channel moving forward, because tomorrow starts year 10 for this channel. And I like to think that 2026 is going to be a phenomenal year for this channel, and a phenomenal year for myself within the gaming sphere that we are all involved with. And so yeah, it's going to be an awesome year, I think. I'm running Shadow Dark, I'm running Hyperborea, and I'm running Fallout RPG at conventions this upcoming 2026 year. I am running Dragon Slayer as my Tuesday night home game. I am running Gangbusters as my Thursday morning game, Gangbusters BX, the expanded edition of it. And I'm running Hyperborea 3rd edition as my Thursday night game. I am looking to play in OSE on Saturday evenings. Hopefully that comes together sometime around late January or so. The Game Master is still trying to get some moving parts together to get a solid core of players that are committed to playing every week, or very close to every week. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So let's see, anything else on the channel analytics. So when I go back to the last 7 days, like I said, the subscribers in the last 7 days, the channel has increased by 39 subscribers in the last 7 days. That's huge. There was only one other time where I gained there was only one other time when I gained 70 subscribers in one day. And that was a couple of years ago. And I remember the video for it. So that was when I was covering Mifrog, which is kind of like the taboo, not quite fatal taboo, but certainly a taboo role-playing game out there. And I must have picked up a whole bunch of subscribers that were just like, oh, look, he's talking about, black metal and tabletop role-playing games. And so I picked up a lot of those those people there. And it's like, I'm not a big black metal fan, to be honest with you, but I do like some of the stuff that was related to Mifrog, as far as the music was concerned. But but black metal itself, not a big fan of it. I like to be able to understand the words that are being sung, but anyway, but yeah, I mean, this past week, like I said, has been a huge week where I've, it's just been booming. My viewership these last 7 days is a little bit lower because of the holidays and everything. I didn't get as many short videos out there. I know Bo Paints Minis was like, oh, I don't like shorts, but he understood that YouTube pretty much requires that you do shorts, and I was like, well, you know what? The shorts that I do are basically doing a tour of the books that are behind me there, and I'm just about to wrap up the 11th shelf. That's each of those little box areas there. I'm about to wrap up that particular one there, which is all Castles and Crusade stuff. And then I'm going to drop down one, which is a continuation of some Castles and Crusade stuff. I have a lot of Troll Lord Games Castles and Crusades. And then we'll start getting into, that will be shelf 12. And then 13, you can see right behind me, and you could already see probably Call of Cthulhu and stuff, right behind me. And I'll get into that and start covering that as well. But I do shorts. The only two types of short videos that I do, like I said, are shelf tours. And when I'm sitting outside of my job on Mondays, Tuesdays, or Wednesdays, and I got a little, few minutes to kill before I go into work early, I usually do a quick, what I call off-script roadway, which is OSR, in case anybody never made that connection. And, I talk about usually just what's upcoming on the channel that upcoming week. That will usually be Mondays. Sometimes I'll do a recap of Tuesday night's game on Wednesdays. But for the most part, I'm just talking about what's going to come up on the channel for the upcoming week. And that is how I use short videos. And they do quite well. I mean, they do, pretty well as far as those are concerned. I very rarely do commentary on those. Once in a while, I'll do a response short video. And again, that's, something that I think a 3-minute response video is actually pretty good length of time to do a response. I think I've been a subscriber since around the beginning. You certainly, I don't know how I can check that, but I remember seeing the videos about Varg's RPG. Didn't you debate Garibay around that time? Yeah, my video with Garibay, well, that came much later than Mifrog. Mifrog is the game system, that brought me back into the hobby, back into the tabletop hobby. Back in 2013 to 2014, I was following Pathfinder Online. I was a early backer of it. I was in there as an alpha tester of that game system. I was talking quite a bit with the people that were creating and arguing quite a bit, I should say, with like Ryan Dancy and one of the other individual whose name slips my mind now. There weren't that many people ever involved in that to begin with, and we were really, just trying to get that game system, or that game, I should say, that computer game up and running, an MMO. And it was a disaster all the way through. And I was following the Paizo forums, and the Paizo forums, there was this guy, Captain Marsh, if I remember his name right. And he was like, whatever you do, do not look into this game, do not support this game, do not buy this game. And he was talking about Mifrog. And at the time, I think Mifrog was in one of its iterations of first edition. And, he linked a thing that was done by some blog that was like a black metal blog that was criticizing the game, but really didn't talk about the game itself. It was talking more about Varg and his background, but this channel was like, yeah, we should be as a block, as a community on Pathfinder Online's, chat community on the official Pathfinder forums, or saying, don't buy this game, don't mention this game, don't engage in this game at all. So I'm, pretty much a contrarian, and I'm also an educator. So it was like, let me look into this thing. And then I was like, wow, it's only like $9 on Amazon. So I bought it. I was like, oh, $9. I'm curious enough to spend $9 on something. And so I started reading through it, and I was like, wow, this is like a very much simplified version of Rolemaster. I was like, well, it's not a D&D clone, thankfully, and it's a much, much simplified version of Rolemaster. And I really liked the system. I was like, there's nothing wrong with the system. Yeah, you could see some of the politics in the earlier editions of it, but that was not present in 2.4, second edition, the fourth iteration of second edition. And so I was like, no, this game is actually pretty solid, and so that's why I started, covering it on my channel. As I was like, no, this system is not as bad as people are making it out. And, I don't have to agree with Varg's politics, which in some cases I absolutely don't. I mean, he's certainly not a big fan of the United States, as it relates to, our activity with Europe, I guess. But I'm like, no, I don't really, care. And I've had debates with him directly on, on Twitter or elsewhere, just going back and forth on, what is a European? Because, he thinks that just Northern Europeans are Europeans. And I'm like, no, that's not really how that works, but we also got into some conversations about the game itself. And, I pointed out to him how broken some of the mechanics of 3.0 were. And he actually changed them. He was like, oh, you know what? I realize what you're pointing out here. And he made that change for the fourth edition of Mifrog. So, yes, I am a contrarian, as some put here. And I think that what time? So yes, I am being contrary, as usual. So let's see. My Gangbusters game, which I am having this Thursday, is at 9 a.m. Eastern time. We only run about an hour to an hour and a half. 2 hours to about 2.5 hours, because one of my players She needs to go and take care of some, some business every day on at that time. So, but I like keeping it really short and episodic. And Paul is in that game as well. You see Paul here in the chat if he's still around. And so it's just Leah and Paul right now. We did have a third player who just kind of dropped off the map. So so Mike, you're welcome to join anytime, and we'll work you into it. Yeah, I supported the Pathfinder at like $400 level, and then fortunately, like 2 years after, and still before they technically launched, I was able to sell it to somebody, poor bastard, and then I took that $400 that I got for my key, and then I purchased Modiphius's Conan 2D20 system, the whole, like, the Treasure of Tranikos set, which was like $375 or something like that. At the time, it was like $375. So I ended up getting like all 22 or 23 books of that game system from it. So anyway, so yeah. The game had potential, but they didn't have enough developers to actually develop it, and Paizo never put any of their true backing behind it. I don't even know if that's still up and running. I can't believe that it is. That's got to be dead. But I don't know. If it's still around, let me know. But I doubt it. There's probably still not water in the rivers of the River Kingdom to this day, if it is still running. So let's see what else is up there. I totally forgot that there was a Pathfinder online. Yeah, no, it's not hard to forget. I don't think it cannot still be active. There's no way it can still be active. But, back in the day, like on this channel, I used to spend a lot of time talking about video games. All right, that's part of what Unscripted and Unchained really came from, was the fact that I would live stream my first setting foot into a new MMO and just relaying my experience in an unscripted and unchained way. I was like, if the system didn't launch, like I had that with Road Warrior, the Road Warrior game on Steam. And even though my computer met every single one of those requirements, it just wouldn't load on my system. Another game that I opened up on there was, I mean, they didn't mention that it had strobing, and strobing was just it triggered my latent epilepsy from when I was a child. I was like, I almost vomited at the strobing that was taking place, on the screen, and I tried to get the money back from that. And they were like, nope, it's past the deadline, because I waited too long to even fire the thing up. But a lot of the times I was, just going in for the first time playing the game. And that's where Unscripted and Unchained came from, was just from the idea that I'm going to give it right off the cuff. I don't script my videos. I just hit, record, and I start just talking about whatever I'm going to be talking about, or reviewing whatever I'm going to be reviewing. And, oftentimes it is the first time that I'm seeing it as well. And that's why I say it's not scripted, and it really is. You're getting my genuine response to things. So in a very unchained way, about it. That's my throwback to a Conan MMO, Conan Unchained. So that's where I got that from. The Age of what was that called? The Age of I think it was called The Age of Conan, and then it was Unchained. Yeah, it was Unchained was one of the versions of it, the early version. So MMOs are huge commitment of resources. They can't half-ass them. Yeah, and they just didn't have the staff to really do it. Video games is what led me to playing TTRPGs. I started with Ultima Online and other MMOs, and they lead me full circle to games like CNC. Yeah, and it's yeah, it was the same. It was this kind of the same path as I did. I started with tabletop role playing games around 77, 78. And then around 87 through 89, I just had my one friend that was my DM. And I think it was just the two of us playing at that point. And then when he went off to college away from Long Island, New York, that's where we grew up. That's when I kind of stopped playing in 89-ish. And then in 90, I joined the military. So it was kind of, it was a clean break from there, but we were still playing PlayStation and doing those kinds of things there throughout the 90s. And then I was still playing pirate games on the computer. So, pre-Sid Meier's. Sid Meier's came a little bit later. I was doing Sierra's High Seas Trader, which is where Bloodworth first came from. That's where the gaming name Bloodworth actually derived from was 1996's High Seas Trader. That was the name of the character that I put in that. So I've been using that since 96. So coming up on what would that be, like 30 years using Bloodworth in gaming. I heard about Pathfinder Online from the No Direction podcast. No Direction used to be called the 3.5 Private Sanctuary podcast. Cool stuff. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long and storied road. My coming back to tabletop role-playing games. As you can see, everything behind me, I have purchased in the last 10 years. I had nothing after I got married in 2000. And so everything that I had ended up getting sold off in a yard sale, when we first moved to that apartment, and got rid of everything. And then 15 years later, it's like, oh shit, I don't want to buy all this stuff back again. And a couple $1,000s later, I got everything that you see behind me, and buying some new stuff, and but I think mostly all of the old stuff that I wanted to get my hands on again, I got my hands on again. But now I'm much more selective over what new games I'm going to get into. So like I said, most of my games that I'm currently running right now, I bought in the last year. So that's, between, Shadow Dark is almost 2 years, but, Dragon Slayer, I picked up last June, and then Hyperborea 3rd edition, I backed that when it was in Kickstarter and started playing that this past year. So 2025, started playing that. And then, Castles and Crusades I've been playing for a couple of years now. But I wasn't even aware of that 5 years ago, or at least I don't think so. It was around the time that I became aware of it. So, these things have, really changed the way that I look at the hobby, and, following along. I got a question here. So, do you have a favorite video or favorite experience from the last 10 years? Again, I think it's like the convention going. So I met Frank Metzner for the first time in 2023 at Page One. And now Frank and I, we had, we had first started interacting with each other when he was looking to do his Imperium Age Kickstarter, and I was talking with him back and forth, both on emails back and forth. Actually, he even gave me his personal number, and we've spoken at least once on the telephone as well. And I was so much invested in like pirate themed games and such, like from Sea Dogs and Sid Meier's and all of this stuff throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s. I was actually a forum moderator for Bethesda when they were doing Sea Dogs, and when they before it went over to Akella and such. But I worked with Akella as well when they picked up Sea Dogs from Bethesda, and it might have also been called Flying Labs at the time as well. They fluctuated quite a bit back and forth. And so when I was talking to Frank, I was like, oh, I'd love to write a chapter on, because he was going to have like a pirate island there. And I said, I'd love to write that chapter on that. So we were talking quite a bit back and forth, over the span of about 4 months or so, that until that Kickstarter collapsed. And so I kept in touch with him over the year or so thereafter, and or maybe even longer than that. And then when I finally got to meet him in person, I mean, we sat down for like an hour and a half just chatting with each other before his game. And then I played in his game, and I was one of the 5 out of 16 survivors of his game. So I was like, yeah, we should get a pin that says I survived Frank Metzner's game, rather than those that have the t-shirts from this year or the pins from this year. It was like I died in Frank Metzner's game. But that was a huge experience. A second, huge experience, related to this channel was meeting Kelsey Deone, and she knew who I was. She was like, "Oh my God, DM Bloodworth, so good to see you," and chatting with her, and I was just amazed that she knew who I was, and we immediately started talking, and I was running her game at Page 2. I mean, there's other people that I've met in the hobby that are related to these channels, whether it be Eric Tenkar, I've known now for several years. That's going back to ShireCon, so I would say all of these individuals that I have met through conventions is because of the channel. And so that's, overall, I don't have anything that really stands out beyond convention connections. And just through the channel. Ducato, who just changed his channel over to Troll Den Painting. He's someone that I met in person at ShireCon as well. But we were back and forth on YouTube and such for much longer time than that, and then we finally met in person. And I think that's the biggest benefit that I've gotten out of the channel, is the fact that we've kind of grown a network of both YouTube content creators and convention goers to the same conventions, that we see each other now almost every year at 2 or 3 or more sometimes conventions. It's just a phenomenal experience. Hey, Mirador. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm really stoked, as you can tell by our back and forth on the on Discord and everything. I'm looking forward to it. I got to front load a bunch of stuff as well, and it's going to be awesome. I'm hoping that it not only kicks off nice and smooth. I fully expect that it will, but I'm hoping that it really becomes the kind of campaign that will be that multi-year campaign, and kind of try to recapture the lightning that was in the bottle with that AD&D First Edition campaign that we ran a couple years ago. Hey, Bo, how's it going? Good to see you as always. And yep, thank you for the happy anniversary. And let's see who else we have. We have, Chthonic Musings. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Nice to have you here. And yeah, it's been a great year. For those of you that are just coming in now already, this has been a great year. So year 9 of the channel, has gotten a lot of growth. I've gotten a lot of growth from it as well, as far as being, a gamer and a convention goer and a convention game master, and just meeting so many people, in person has been awesome. And I'm really looking forward to, year 10 and 2026 and everything that that 2026 appears to be, giving us as far as the hobby is concerned, especially the OSR and the independent, publishing hobby. Looking forward to it. There's a lot of great stuff out there. And, I know some people will say, there's too much stuff out there. You're going to pick and choose whatever you're going to really enjoy running or playing. And you're going to, hopefully you grab a couple. You diversify what you're playing. And I've always been a big proponent of that. Get out there and play as many different types of game systems as you can. Play different genres. Get as much out of this hobby as you possibly can, and meet as many people, whether it's even online or in person. Meet as many people as you can. Get as much gaming in as you can, and just fully immerse yourself into the tabletop role-playing hobby, and you will have a great time at it. I mean, this is probably my 40th year in the hobby. Maybe 39th year in the hobby. If I came in around 77, 78, I always forget whether I was 10 or 11 years old when I first started playing D&D. And, I used to think, and I'm pretty sure my DM was wrong when he was like, because I remember the Holmes edition, and so I think he had the Holmes edition first, and we were using that, but he had the monster manual for AD&D as well, and so we were using the monster manual but still using the rules of the Holmes edition, because the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master Guide came out second and third after AD&D First Edition Monster Manual came out. So I was fairly certain he was using the Holmes edition first, and then we transitioned right away over to AD&D First Edition, and we played that from, let's say, 78 through to roughly 87-ish or so when we stopped. So we played AD&D for between 8 and 10 years, or 9 and 10 years. But we also played a lot of other games at the same time, so it was, and we were rotating game masters depending on what game systems we were running, so I was the game master of Twilight 2000. I was also game mastering Star Frontiers. I was game mastering I did a little bit of D&D, but that was mostly the purview of my other two game masters. And then I was game mastering Villains and Vigilantes, second edition. I only played Call of Cthulhu. I never game mastered that as far as I recall, but did that more recently. And then with second edition, that white box that you see behind me there. But yeah, it's been a great 9 years, and brings me right back to the early days when I first got into the hobby. That's the same level of enthusiasm and enjoyment I'm getting. Was the same enthusiasm and enjoyment I had as a teenager. So there's not too much OSR 2D BX stuff out there. There's only too much to ask me to buy anything new, especially at Kickstarters. Yeah. There's again, you're gonna check to see. Like I took almost a year to buy Dragon Slayer, and I said several times, I was like, convince me, why do I need this? And it wasn't until I met Greg Gillespie in person, and asked him again. I was like, give me the pitch. I was like, because I have Homes Edition and I have First Edition. So tell me what Dragon Slayer is going to introduce me to that I can't do myself. And so he started talking about it, and I dropped the $50 right then and there, and within a couple of weeks, because he didn't have the hardcovers there at CNY RPG Con, and so he sent them out to me a couple weeks later, and it's become my new focus for 2026 for my Tuesday night games is going to be Dragon Slayer for as long as hopefully that'll carry us through for the next couple of years, running Dragon Slayer and running that particular campaign. I have a video on my channel about Blue Box Homes. I've got a funny story about it. Oh, hey, if you want to, you can jump in and tell us that story, or you can type it out or whatever, but you're welcome to join in and tell us your story about Blue Box Homes. And if you're looking for, first of all, you can get the Homes Edition outside of its box for like $20. So that's how I bought it too. I bought it without the box. I just bought the book, and you can also get what's called Blue Homes, which is a retro clone of it as well. Really quite well done. I recommend getting that as well. So yeah, if anybody wants to jump in, and you just hit that link and you can come in, and I will check to see. I don't know if I'll get the queue if someone tries to jump in. So I'll keep an eye on that. Let's see what else is there to talk about. So let me get back to the last 365 days on the channel. I think I picked up 2 more subscribers, so that's good too. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and go over to the Discord channel if you're haven't had an opportunity to join me over at Discord. And oh yeah, I did get the chime. Great. So let me get back to this here, and there's Paul. Hey, Paul.
Hey, man.
Oh yeah. Let me turn that down a little bit, because you're the first person that came in, and now I can see that my volume is good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for some reason I could not hear while the mic was plugged in, because I got a new mic, and
Right.
So while the mic was plugged in, I couldn't hear anything coming through the speaker. I was like, so then as soon as I turned off the mic, then it was working. What I think happened was that I initially put in the mic, plugged it in, and I didn't restart my computer.
Gotcha.
And so now I think it's, hopefully it's working, and hopefully the mic quality is, I think the mic quality is much better than what it was, So I'm gonna have to redo that whole video when I was talking about the stuff that I got from James Raggi and the second bundle of
Yeah.
books because he gave me so much stuff. It's incredible how much,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to fill up an entire shelf of just his stuff. So,
Sure. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things he did was he took like all of the old Quest books and modules that they had for Lamentations, and they just have
yeah,
nice collected
yeah,
whatever editions now. They have like 3 or 4 modules each in them that are kind of nice.
yeah.
So,
Hey, Bo, how's it going?
My ear my my Bluetooth is not connecting. I just want to come on and congratulate you on your both your channel and your apparent success. And I gotta say, I always kind of poo-pooed the D20 OSR movement as sort of being a derivative and kind of bland, but like I kind of you and Tankar and Shadow kind of turned me on in the last couple months, and I got a copy of the Pharaohs and Borderlands
Yeah,
hardcover, and I sort of just fell down that rabbit hole. I got on all of the looking for compatible material. I think the thing that D20 movement is going for it is a glut of compatible material.
right.
And with a little tweaking, you can adjust the system, to your style
Yeah,
and still be within the framework and grounds. And I was just looking for, and I just got tons of material now, and almost too much. So I can really decide, when I run this game, I can decide how I want to run it, and still be completely above board as long as all the players, um, agree or understand which of the tools I'm going to pick. I'm going to go like old school. We're going to have side-based initiative. We're not going to have individual initiative because it's side-based initiative. We're going to have that old BX, order of operations, as it were.
right.
Movement, and then missile combat, and then
Yeah,
spells, and then melee combat. I'm going to use that.
yeah.
We're going to jump in, and we're going to make this game feel like it's 1978.
It's the thing I think you'll find is that the OSR in general is just so much more open to bringing from different game systems into one, and you're going to find that it's like, hey, I like this from this particular game, and so I'm going to use that. And here's another resource that I'm going to carry over into it as well. And I mean, that's what I'm doing with my Dragon Slayer game. I'm pulling stuff now from the. It's a supplement, right? It's called. Oh, for Christ's sakes!
Don't make me go buy something new.
Yeah, yeah. It's what the hell? I can't think. It's called Off Time. Off Time. It's a carousal system, basically.
Okay.
I'm drawing a total blank.
Well, you and I were talking most recently about finding extra planar stuff because there was so little other outer plane stuff that was specifically.
Oh yes.
Next, and I found a couple of OSE supplements. One called the Planar Compass,
All
and they
right.
had multiple issues. And then I found somebody else recommended one from another BX system. So, and then I've always got book 2 of the Immortal set. Which I got it on PDF. I don't have a hard copy of it, of course, because it's all that vintage stuff is incredibly expensive if you want it vintage.
If you don't get it in the box, it's cheaper. If you get just the books, like Immortals, I bought just the books. If you get just the books, you can often get them for like $30 or less.
Right.
And it's literally the same cost or less than what you would pay for a modern hardback.
Right, reprint.
And they're or a reprint, which is even worse. I'd rather have the original without its box for $30 than pay $20 for a reprint. All right.
If it's a scanned reprint, I definitely agree. Like I was looking at the scanned reprints from the TSR stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's horrible.
To my old eyes, it's so fuzzy. It's the scans are. Literally took the book and put it in a scanner and scanned it off, and it's low res. Yeah. And my old eyes can't handle that. I mean, close enough to the same age. You're older than I am, but
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Chthonic Musings. It's on Downtime and Domains. They say that's Domains. It's French. So I was like, I don't know why it's French. Yeah, yes.
We're gonna need like a Pee Wee's Playhouse alarm whenever somebody says on Downtime and Domains. We'll just he said the word, because we've been talking that up. Speaking of which, if you're gonna interview people, get what's his name, the writer of this, Courtney Campbell, and bring Macris on at the same time. They both worked on it, so maybe they can kind of give you a retrospective, because it's been a few years since they did this.
Yeah, I'm going to be. I'm waiting for the book to arrive. So I ordered that. I think it's coming. I think it's supposed to come not this Friday, maybe next. That's the one thing. Drive-through was slow. But I was happy because I only paid 38 cents for it. The rest was funded by people just using my affiliate link, which I'm so appreciative of it. And like I said, I like to take everything from the channel and put it right back into the channel. That's why I was like, when people were telling me, hey, you know what, your sound is bad, I was like, all right, I'll spend $100 and get a new mic, and apparently it's working fine now. So I'm glad that it's working fine. I'll see how it integrates with freaking XSplit. Because that was the other issue was it, I think it was cracking quite a bit with XSplit. Although when I just did a test before coming onto the live stream, it was working, but I just couldn't hear it unless I turned off the mic, which was kind of weird. Like I couldn't hear the playback unless the mic was unplugged or powered off. So I was like, XSplit has gotten wonky lately. So
depending on how fancy pants your mic is too, you might want to check updating the drivers and all that. There's all kinds of stuff.
This is a Blue Yeti,
Gotcha.
So it's not a, it certainly wasn't the top of the line one. It wasn't like the 121, but it was like the $99 one, $100 one, so I was like, all right, cool, But
now, earlier you were talking about being in Frank Mensner's game. He gave out what now, pins if you survived, or shirts?
This last year, he gave out pins if you died.
Gotcha.
And I was like, no, you should have. So this is how Frank ran his game, right? So old school. I was sitting right next to him, and so I'm trying to learn like what's he doing now. He's only rolling 2d6 the entire time. He's only rolling 2d6. Now we rolled the d20s to see if we hit or not. His 2d6, from what I could tell, because I wasn't looking like over his shoulder kind of thing, but what I could tell was that it was a system of either if you rolled doubles of any kind, that was that was like a super negative, or if you failed the saving throw, like I think you had to roll a 15 or under to save on anything. But if you rolled a 15 or over, whatever you were doing, you're dead. I'm opening a door. I'm finding or removing traps. Right? So you rolled a 16, you're dead. It's like, and so there were 16 of us, right? There was 8 sitting at the table, and there were 8 behind. And so within the first 2 minutes, the first player character was dead. And we only had like hit points, like 8 hit points. Everybody had like a +1 to hit, everyone had like some kind of like an armor class that was just like a, whatever it happened to be, like a 5 armor class or something like that. If a monster hit you, you would survive maybe 1 hit. If you got hit a second time, you were dead. If a giant hit you, because it was a giant in this thing too, if the giant hit you, you were dead. Like I said, if you said, "Oh, I'm gonna look in this hole," all right, make a saving throw, you're dead. It was like, so as it was going, I'm watching all these people dropping like flies, and they would get up out of their seat and they would line up behind the next group. The next would sit in that seat and take over with a new character, right? But not a single person, not even the guy that died within the first 3 minutes of the game, left for the whole 2.5 hours that it ran.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. They all stayed right there. Everybody engrossed. It was like he literally had everybody in the palm of his hand, and his whole system was just 2d6 rolling and whatever it happened to be. And from what I understand, like watching like the Secrets of Blackmoor or whatever, I'm watching them roll like Dave Arneson roll at the table, or at that, the Blackmoor group's table. That's all they were rolling with 2d6. So that was the whole system that it was used. The seven die came in with D&D, probably with Holmes Edition. All right. That wasn't, because they had chits with one of the earliest versions of it too, right?
Would you have to just draw them out of a bag or something?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you were drawing them out of a bag. That was before my time, so my time was.
I guess that must have came from like the wargaming and the Napoleonics and stuff. They'd write down their unit stats on the chits, or just have like
the
numbers for yes, no.
Polyhedral dice weren't even available, and I understand they were incredibly expensive.
Yeah,
just because of availability. I mean, if you can't get a 20-sided die from anywhere by mail order, and if the die cost $5 in 1978, you can't find alternative methods in a hurry.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why it was all D6s, because you could just cannibalize a box of Yahtzee or something like that. And be like, here you go, you got enough for all the players, and then you're all set.
Yeah, it was a like White Box. If you read White Box and you read through the rules and everything, you'll see that it literally tells you, you need to use chainmail along with this in order to play D&D. I was like, it's still a war game, and I know a lot of people.
A war game.
Huh?
It was advertised as a war game.
Yeah, it was advertised as a war game. It was a war game, and if you, rest his soul, Shauner used to say D&D is a war game. It's not a role playing game, which I disagreed with him there. I was like, no, you could role play in D&D. I was like, no, it's a war game. It's a miniatures war game, So I was like, but it was a, just watching how the hobby has evolved over all of these years is again, it's something as, an old school gamer like myself, just looking back at the time, and meeting people like yourselves and everything like that, people like Shauner and having his influence and everything, that all comes from this channel. You know what I'm saying? Without this channel, I would have never had come across, the people that were like Shauner and those of you that are doing like the 4D role playing and even the guys from the Bro SR and everything. I've spoken to them as well, and just so many different aspects of the OSR that that people just coming from different directions of it. The OSR is not a monolith, and that's what I love about it. And this channel is what has introduced me to so many other perspectives that would have never had, as just somebody, we've never experienced this when I was a kid playing D&D. We had our one group, the same group of 5 kids played that game, played the games that we played for, 7, 8, 9 years, and then it was just online play thereafter, starting in 2015.
Right. Well, back in the day, that was it. You had to do like these pilgrimages or be a journeyman about it, where you would go to different game stores and see what people were playing, talk to them, figure out what they're doing. And now this is why, like, it's interesting to see how the OSR is growing, and a lot of people talking about like the death of D&D and stuff. And that's why I always say D&D is never going to die. People are going to talk about this hobby, and just the play styles will change depending on from table to table. You'll talk to people and it's like, oh, I never thought about doing that. Oh, that's a good idea. And that's why there's some of these channels now just talk about like, what was it the other day? We were just talking about experience. How do we do experience? How do we want it to feel in the game and stuff like that? And you discuss the topics, and kind of the art form keeps evolving.
I've been like going back and forth, trying to think of a way to do experience points. Like, I'm like, you know what? I don't want gold to equal experience. I want gold. You can spend gold to gain experience, but it's in this. It's what you're spending it on. That's what's going to give you the experience points. Whether it's carousal or you're studying something, you're doing a tithe because you're a paladin or a cleric and you're paying a tithe, or you're a thief paying your dues. Well, paying the tithe and paying the dues means that you're going to be interacting with your guild or your temple or whatever, and that's where the experience points comes from. It's not from the coin; it's from what you're doing with the coin. So it's like, you're not going to gain experience points because you picked up a freaking coin off the floor. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that's what I want to try to break my players away from that mindset, so that they're not just focusing on, well, I'm going to pick up every 10 silver pieces I can get because that's going to give me a point of experience. Right. No, I want them to look at 10 silver pieces as a waste of space in their pocket. That's an unnecessary weight to carry. I'm going to pass that kind of stuff up, just like they eventually do with copper anyway. It's like nobody picks up copper pieces. It's like, but I want them to get to the point of saying, well, I need that 100 gold pieces because I can tithe that over to and convert it directly to 100 experience points, or I'm going to take that 100 gold pieces and I'm going to hire 2 henchmen, for a month, based on whatever whatever it's going to, whatever the transfer rate is. But I'm going to hire henchmen and I'm going to put them to work on doing things, setting my domain up, my domain play up in the future, that kind of thing. So that's what I want them to really think about. Just like I don't want them to look at every encounter as, well, here's an opportunity to kill something. It was like, no, you can get experience from an encounter, whether you kill it, you defeat it, make it flee, you negotiate it with it, or you avoid it. All right. Yeah. You'll gain the same experience. I just had this conversation with one of my players. You will get the same experience points no matter how you navigate that encounter in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? Like as long as
Mirador was asking about that just the last stream. He was like, if we take out the goblin leader and they fail a morale check and leave, do we get experience for like everybody? And it's hey, you defeated the whole group. Yeah.
You defeated the whole group. Yeah. So that's what I want them to, really get into their mindset is that, I can gain experience points from a number of different ways. All right. But it's all from doing. I says, I want you to go into every space thinking about, well, what can I do here? And then getting into that like 4D element, it's like, I'm going to explain what you see, smell, feel, here in this space. And then tell me how your character is interacting in that space. All right. And if you spend any amount of time in that space, you're going to get XP. You're going to learn something about it. You might learn something about the space. I said, I want, so again, Mirador was like, well, how are we going to, how many rooms are going to be able to clear in a 2.5 to 3 hour time session? Are we going to spend so much time in like 6 rooms or whatever, whatever amount of space? I was like, it's not the number of rooms you're going through. It's what you're getting from each room.
It's almost like he's talking about playing Diablo, where it's like, well, I need to be making this much gold points per hour or I'm wasting my time. And it's like, what? This is a tabletop RPG, dude.
Yeah, it's just, again, I'm not faulting him for that. I just want you to get into the mindset of, I don't care if we only clear 6 rooms in that space. It's my obligation as the game master to make sure that I'm making something interesting about every single room that you go into, something for you to do in every single room that you go into, and then, those random encounters aren't just going to be, well, I rolled a die on them. No, there will be a certain selection of random encounters. It's more random as to whether it happens or not. The frequency of it is random. But, if you're going to meet a group of ghouls, I have predetermined what that particular group is. You know what I'm saying? That way I know the experience points. I know everything that you're going to get from that interaction. All right. Now, when that interaction happens, I don't know. That's the random part of it. But when it does come, and now there's a random encounter, and that's one of the 6 potential encounters that you can have in there, then I'll determine based on the situation that you're in, which encounter will enhance the experience at the moment.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting now that I think about it, because the term murder hobo, that pretty much goes with the metric. You're either murdering for XP or hoboing to get the gold for XP.
Right, yeah.
So to get rid of that, it's like, no, guys, you're going to get XP for leaving your footprint in the world, for experience, doing things that change the game world. Don't worry about, and that's the problem is there's metrics in the books that show, well, if you get this much gold, it's this much XP, and then people are sitting there with their calculators crunching out how much time we need to take to level up, and it's like, no. Get rid of all that. It's interact with the world as your character would, and the XP will come, I promise.
Yeah.
And that's,
Go ahead, Bo.
Got some Bo.
Well, I hate to beat that dead horse, but if you read Dave Hargrave's the Arduin Grimoire early in the maybe page 30 or 40, he suggests an alternate system of XP where you get XP really not based on gold or monsters that you kill, but the things that you do.
Yeah,
there you go.
Think about the Michael Caine movie, The Italian Job, with 1965.
Mm-hmm.
They steal all the gold, but at the end of the movie, the gold is like balancing on the bus. Do they get the gold or not? But the experience they got was for the heist.
Yeah.
You get an experience for the heist and for the traps they defeat and the monsters they circumvent. Give them experience points for avoiding the monster.
Yeah.
Give them experience points for solving problems. And get people. See, this is the thing. We need to take back the term RPG. We got to take it back, because these computer games, guys, if you're playing a computer game that's called an RPG, and you come to a decision tree, and you go left to right, and you come to a monster, if you don't kill that monster, there's no game.
Yeah.
How is that role playing? What role am I playing? I'm not role playing because I'm not playing the role. But in my game, if you guys are sitting at my table, and there's a monster harrying the village of Hamlet, and you can scare that or parlay with the monster. Hey, we'll offer you 30 sheep if you leave the town alone. Guess what? You won the game.
Yep.
We got to get back to that. We've got to just take that term back and tell these computer guys they're not playing role-playing games because they're not playing a role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see some people, some commentators and everything, they forget what the G stands for. It's no, it's a game, which means that you have to have a winner and a loser. All right. There is a, you can fail, you can fail at this, and that's the other problem with, not fully understanding what RPG stands for. They forget the role-playing part and they forget the game part. It's like, in order for it to be a game, you have to have consequences. You have to have consequences for failure. You have to have
a glorious death. You could win in death.
Oh, yeah. One of my best gaming experiences was in my character's death, and just the epic way that he died. And that was at a convention game that was playing Weird Frontiers, and I was on one of those pumping things on the rail car loaded up with dynamite, and I had to jump off of it, and before it exploded, in time, and because my target was moving forward and I was moving towards it too, we were like on both of those cars coming towards each other, and I didn't time my jump off right, and I failed my dexterity roll, and I got blasted away in the blast and everything, and everybody at the table was like, I took the boss monster that we were about to fight. It was like a giant zombie thing that we were about to fight, and took them down to like half hit points, for my action, but I was killed in the blast, and the whole table jumped up and cheered, you know, and it was the most epic, you know. It was the
I
most.
can tell you don't teach math, though, right? That's one of those high school algebra problems. A train leaves Baltimore traveling this miles an hour.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what the GM was saying too. He was like, "Have you, you know?" He says, "You miscalculated because you didn't realize that his rate of speed was a little bit faster than yours, and so when he did the initiative balance between the two, and he did the differentiation, that's why I got thrown off." And I was like, I don't care. It was just epic, you know.
That's epic.
The only thing I should have said at the time was "witness me," you know, put the spray and everything, and that would have made it perfect, yeah. But it was like that kind of a moment, right? It was like that kind of a thing, and you don't get that playing a video game.
Well, I don't know if people get that playing even RPGs anymore. Young players, we got to bring that back to the new players. I was online, and I hate social media, but I was looking for like meetup groups or stuff to play an in-person role-playing game in my town, and it's like 5e, 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 and like, well, I guess we're not playing an in-person game together then.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
What's up, man? Happy channel birthday, man.
Yep, thank you very much, and thank you for all the the conversations that we have, and you're coming in and leaving your comments and doing everything else that you do as well. And it's been
my pleasure, man.
Great to keep on meeting new people and exchanging ideas and just going back and forth. So I'm, like I said, I got all my stuff here for Lamentations. So got tons of Lamentation stuff. So I forget who exactly. Oh no, it's who I want to talk to is Lord Mateus is the Lamentations guy.
He's the guy.
He's the big Lamentations guy. So hopefully he'll pop in. If he does, and I'll be like, hey, I want to live stream with you, and we'll talk about Lamentations, especially when I dig into one of these, monster books that James sent me. So
that one's really cool. That's
this
one that takes place in Maryland, I think, or
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah. The Great Virginia Disastrum of 1633. So I was a history teacher, so I'll love to see what that has in store. And then the other one he sent me was Nebulith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this one I was really stoked for and everything. And just looking through this thing, I was like, oh my God. I mean,
yeah, it's beautiful.
I've never seen an RPG written like this, I mean, that's just incredible stuff. I'm hoping my eyesight will be able to see everything, but
that's my only issue is with that is like some of them are hand painted by Zach Smith, and it's like, it's a little tough for me to read. Once you start getting older, you're like, curse my old eyes.
So,
bifocals.
Yeah. Well, I have bifocals, but it's like I'll need to get one of those readers where you can expand it. I'll use my cell phone to expand it and then just scan through it, or find it in PDF and
get the magnifier.
Yeah, big magnifier or magnifying glass from like CVS.
I tried one of those for painting, and that didn't help me at all.
I can't use the ones before my eyes, but I can use the ones on the tabletop just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I use the headset if I'm putting stuff together.
Yeah.
Bloodworth, I was going to mention, I don't know if I know that James sent you a shit ton of stuff, but
he did.
If you get really into Lamentations, the kind of like the 2-3 adventures that I always highly recommend for people I think are some of the best is Tower of the Stargazer, which is in their first like adventure compilation. I think Paul was talking about that earlier.
All right.
And then I think also in that compilation is called The God That Crawls. To me, those are kind of like the primo. I mean, Death Frost Doom as well.
You got to expound, buddy. I don't know these things. You got to sell it to me. Give me the elevator pitch.
So I have two anthologies. I have the Anthology of Fire. And,
I think that might be it.
And the Anthology of Blood.
Okay, it's in one of those too.
Yeah, so that's the two anthologies that I have, and I'm gonna, like I said, I mean, geez, I think this is the bundle that he sent me for review. So these are the three that he sent me for review.
It's all good
Oh,
stuff in there.
I know it's all good stuff.
Well, I mean, I just dropped a whole bunch of money on their web store. Can you just let me review it, James? We're good, man. Like, just send it to me for free. You know, can throw in a shirt too, you know, and maybe a couple kisses and a tug or two, you know.
Yeah. No, I was really blown away by what he said, because it came in two separate packages, right? So the first one, I was like, I said, I figured like I got did I get 2 boxes or 3? I forget. They had to come because and he recently did a video where he's like, he can only send so many number of kilograms per package, you know, for US shipping.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like something like, you know, something weird. So I was like, all right, that's why I'm getting it in separate, you know, separate packaging.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I was like, I says, I'm pretty sure, like I didn't order this, but I ordered these other 2 bundles. And the one bundle, I was like, I don't recognize this at all. So I was like, I was waiting for the bundle that had the core rulebook, because that was bundle number 1 that I got. And then this came, and I was like, holy cow, this is like a crap ton of extra stuff. And I was like crossing my fingers, hoping that I would get, you know, the Oriental, you know, the Oriental themed one, but yeah, I didn't expect to actually get it, so that was a huge surprise.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, everybody seemed. I can't remember the name of the Japanese book, but
the Nebulith.
Everybody seems to love it, besides Zach's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh,
All that whole
cares.
Yeah. All that
It's
drama.
So ridiculous.
Well, like, yeah, he was talking about Frank Menster, and I still recall
I remember that too.
The year at GaryCon, they were like, yeah, you can't show up because this broad made allegations. And I was
you
like,
don't feel safe or something? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that was that, what's her name? That outlaw woman, or I think that's her last name. And she's like just a real piece of work. She's crazy. And
the dude basically got blacklisted. I mean, he's,
yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen him at a GaryCon or anything. And it sucks because it was like, you got to play with these guys because they're not all going to last. That was why I was asking about the pin, because I got to play with Jim Ward at Gamehole.
Wow.
And he handed out these little plastic skulls, and he initialed him at the start.
Yeah.
Like we showed up, he just pulled out a big net full of skulls. And we're like, well, this bodes poorly, you know, because we're playing a new game he was developing called Dragon Scales. And he just started putting his initials on the bottom of each one of them. I'm like, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of player kills in this.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah.
This is a set of dice that Frank gives everybody.
Oh, the red dice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, orange set of dice that Frank gives everyone. That was at page 1. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, he came up with the pins after page 1. That's when he was like, oh, okay, I'll give pins. But he gave pins for I was killed by Frank Metzner instead of I survived. So
yeah.
You know, I had a question for you, Bloodworth. I don't know if you saw it in the chat before I hopped on, but how would you say the tabletop RPG hobby has changed over the last 10 years since you started your channel? Because a lot of crazy stuff's happened in 10 years.
In the beginning, you still had some of that, you know, the cancel culture going on, and you know, that's pretty much what brought me into, you know, back into the hobby. Was it was kind of the collapse of the MMO, which happened around, I want to say 2000 and between 2012, 13 or so, MMOs started really kind of waning. You know, that's when, you know, EVE was already 10 plus years old. You know, EVE Online, Star Wars Galaxies was already a flop by then because they totally screwed it up. You know, that was SOE really screwed it up. And it was just like, I was just getting burnt out from it anyway. So like, you know, Pathfinder Online was like the last one that I was really, you know, investing into. And that was a total disaster. And that's what brought me back to, because the cancel culture was, there was one person there that was like, don't buy Mifrog, don't look at Mifrog, don't talk about Mifrog. It's a horrible system, you know, and I want everybody here to join and agree that we will not buy this game. We will not talk about this game, you know, and they were acting very much like the RPG Net, you know, the purple one, the Purple blog.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier on, I'm very contrarian. I'm also, I'm also an educator, right? So to me, it's like, no. I like to make my own decisions, my own mind up for certain things. So when I bought it, I was like, and read through it, I was like, first of all, it was $9. So I was like, you can't go wrong for $9. I says, I will drop $9 on something that turns out to be crap, and I won't be that upset about it, right? So I was like, all right, so it's only $9. And I read through it and I was like, you know what? And I wasn't that familiar with Rollmaster. I just knew that this was not based on D&D. All right, so this was not, Mifrog is not a D&D retro clone. It's more based on MERPs or Rollmaster or whatever, just a much more simplified version of it. I'm sitting there, I was like, I like this. I was like, the better, the more that you hit the more that you got past the target number, the more damage you do. I was like, that's pretty cool. So there is no like real critical hit in there. But if you're hitting somebody with like 10 points above what you needed to, you're doing an extra 10 points of damage. That's essentially a critical hit anyway. So there were just certain aspects of it that I really, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I was like, oh, the game system's not that bad. So to get back to your question, Mike, so that was like 2015, 2016, 17. You were still seeing a lot of the Me Too movement was still going on, and there was still some power in the cancel culture, right? Especially around 2016 and, the election fallout and all that kind of stuff. And there was still a lot of clout, mostly from Twitter, at the time. And that's where, so then I noticed something. It was kind of funny. I had somebody come onto my channel. It's one of the biggest videos on my channel going back a ways. It only got surpassed this past year with some others, where it was this guy came onto my channel and he said, the OSR is a dangerous entity for this hobby because
sounds rad. Sign me up.
we tried to infiltrate it,
right,
and destroy it from within. I'm somewhat paraphrasing it, but because there is no head, because there's no head of the snake, there's no way to kill it from within. And I was like, that's exactly why the OSR is going to thrive.
You can't cancel that one guy, right?
It doesn't have a head. It doesn't have one particular group that you have to overtake. I was like, the OSR is, and then this is something else that relates to what Mike was saying, was that they honestly believed that they could cancel us from playing tabletop role-playing games. It's like, no, how are you going to do that? No one has the power to gatekeep the hobby. Right. All right. And many of the other YouTubers have been talking about gatekeeping and how you can't gatekeep the hobby. How are you going to prevent me from playing Dungeons and Dragons when I have 3 editions of it sitting behind me?
Right. They don't gatekeep the hobby. They gatekeep access to their brand of the hobby, and they gatekeep access to publicity. If you go to a place like Reddit, there are 2 OSR groups. There's one OSR group for normal people, and there's one OSR group for the purple-haired, septum piercings.
Right.
And they did divide the OSR. Whether they divided it evenly or not, or equitably or equally, is beside the point. The point is that they actually do the gatekeeping by controlling access to, like I said, you get on Facebook and try to find OSR groups. You're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, there's probably only there's the one with the pride flag background, and then there's there's all the rest that don't insert politics into what they're doing. And as long as you like people bring up, on Reddit, it was like, I might have gone on Reddit like 10 times in the last 10 years.
Sure.
I don't go to Reddit. It's like, so people always talk about, oh, Reddit is this, Reddit. I was like, maybe I have 15 posts on Reddit, maybe,
Right.
I barely go there,
Right.
I mean, even X is better than what Twitter was. I mean, that's another huge change. Once they lost Twitter, that took a lot of steam out of them, and they cannot gatekeep the hobby like they used to. So that's the biggest change I think I've seen is that, plus D&D lost steam right after COVID was over. D&D was done. And COVID saved D&D. All right. D&D was going to die long before it did if COVID didn't force everybody to, find something to do from home. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when the VTTs started sprouting up and really exploding. And that's when the streaming shows started really picking up and everything. So, but D&D for me has not been Dungeons and Dragons since Tasha's Cauldron. Tasha's Cauldron was the beginning of this is certainly not even just Gary Gygax's D&D. This is not the D&D that I recognized as Dungeons and Dragons either. So
right.
It's,
that's why, when it stopped being going on adventures and it became, let's relive the moments in our lives that we wish we did something different, like in prom or in high school or college. And it's like, they made it a big open air therapy session. And it's like, this isn't fun, guys. This isn't a game. This is your nonsense. Leave your baggage at home. Be professional about this, but whatever.
Hey, Shadow, how's it going?
Shadow's being coy. He knows what it means.
You know what it means.
He's being coy.
He's being.
I mean,
being Shadow.
I'm an older millennial, so I mean, I have clear memories of the religious right being the finger waggers and the church ladies. Like I want to listen to Slayer and Marilyn Manson and play D&D and play violent video games, and they're telling me no. And then that was kind of like one of the most formative experiences for me as a kid. Was like, I'm not going to let anyone tell me what I can read or listen to or whatever. It doesn't matter who it is. So I mean, these days, it's just it's still staggered even 20 years on.
I still remember what was it, the live album by Ministry, in case you didn't feel like showing up. The parental thing had the outline so you could cut it out, and they said on the inside, they're like, send this to your member of Congress and tell them this is bullshit, it's about free speech and all that. I was like, what it was Uncle Al being crazy, but I was like, oh, that makes sense. It is kind of bullshit that they're trying to say that this music is filthy. That's really.
Hey, Peter, how's it going? So imagine being in a position where you want to prevent someone else's joy.
Yeah.
What happened to that person? You know what happened to them? They are miserable.
Yeah.
They're miserable. They are personally miserable. Yeah. And they only want to grab and pull others down. What's that? There's that analogy, right? The crabs in a bucket.
Crabs in a bucket. Yeah.
Yeah. Crabs in a bucket. They are crabs in a bucket, and they will do whatever they can to prevent any crab from getting out of the bucket by pulling them right back down into them. And then they will start cannibalizing each other, which they almost always do, right? And
what do they call that? The circular firing squad.
Yeah, it's just that. They are miserable. And then they cannot be happy unless they destroy joy around them. It's quite frankly, and they're not truly invested in the hobby. All right, that's why many of us call them tourists. They're hobby tourists. They're just here. They look around. They shit on it, and then they move on. All right, and only a few industries, have had the balls, quite frankly, to tell them to go F off. Like, Japanese MAGA. Yeah. Japanese MAGA told them, screw off with that shit. We're not accepting that,
right.
And, they have to keep that. They have to keep that lid on, you know what I'm saying? And then, well, that's gatekeeping. Now, We're
Yeah.
protecting,
Right.
I only have the power to gatekeep one thing. That is my table.
Yeah.
And I can't even do that at a convention because I don't know who's coming to my table. But that's the only thing I can gatekeep
There you go.
is my table. And like Bo was just showing, I can
Vote with your
gatekeep by
wallet.
what I spend my wallet on, right? What
Yeah.
I spend my money on. All right. Outside of that, I have no concern with what Bo is playing at Bo's table and how he's playing it.
You're gonna love my game. You're gonna love it.
This is one of the few things that I really appreciate about getting older is that you can kind of look at the long view. You can kind of remember what things
Yeah.
used to be like. I mean, this whole issue about gatekeeping is very, very current. I think I've only heard it brought up in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. And I know that usually people throw it in and they talk about like style of the game or the tone or play styles. But I think the elephant in the room is cancel culture. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to play with people who are going to try and ruin my life because I didn't want to go along with their group therapy session. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great things that D&D and tabletop role-playing games can do for you personally, mentally. It's a wonderful hobby. It can be a tremendous a lot of things, but it's not freaking therapy. And it's not whatever it is. It's whatever this is. They think it is. It's not. It's a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's why that lines and veils and the X card and all that stuff. Yeah,
that was never a
if-
thing back in the day. That was
No.
You would just tell
It's
people.
like-
you would just tell people what the tone is, what you're into, what kind of movies you like, or books or comics. That would be the end of it. Like,
Yeah. One time
Well,
talking
that's
about-
the thing. It was a thing, but when
Yeah.
you were doing like BDSM stuff, so that's
well,
why
that's
it's
a
like,
little.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
no safe
That's an
words or any of
outlier.
that
Yeah.
stuff here,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
Well, that's the kind of the thing is though, is they're trying
Right.
to, creep in with that stuff. They
Some
want to
gooner
work
stuff, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
work
just
their
not.
kinks in, and it's like, no, dude, we're
Yeah,
here
yeah.
to play like Conan Elf game. We go kill stuff, get gold, work in a fantasy world. We don't do any of this. Like, yeah.
See,
None
when
of
I was
that
a kid,
stuff.
when I was a kid, like I started with third edition, so I guess I'm a newer. I don't know. I guess that's old by most people's standards, but the big division was like between power gaming. It's like if you were like a hardcore power gamer or not. That was usually the big
yeah.
division. It was kind of like the jocks version of a D&D. Like we're going to optimize everything.
Yeah.
Like it's like a football team or something, and the rest of us were like, I don't know. We just want to do cool. We just want to
Just
go
wanna
on an
play, dude.
adventure. Yeah, and it wasn't even about telling a story. It was like we just, so that was the division. Like now it's like you gotta you're basically asking what's your appendix N? Like what are you influenced by? Right? Like what are you
That's
into?
a bad question because originally, again, the whole thing is somewhere along the way, playing games stopped being something you do with your friends
Mhm.
and something you do with strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
If you do with strangers, you've got to be a lot more careful. If it's with my friends, I can make a doo-doo, pee-pee, fart joke, and I'm not going to offend anybody.
Yeah.
But if
Sure.
it's people with strangers, and I say something, it's like, oh no, you can't say that. My mom was killed by doo-doo, caca, pee-pee, and you triggered some childhood trauma. Well,
Sure.
again, my table is not a therapy session because I'm not a therapist. I'm not licensed, board certified. I'm Joe Schmuckatelli, who we're throwing math off. We're playing a regulated make-believe. This is make-believe with rules.
Right.
That's all it is.
See, and
Yeah.
Musings brings up a good point here. Back when I started role playing, we were all basically societal misfits. The idea of quote unquote
Exactly,
gatekeeping other
100%.
people would have been laughable. And that's the thing. Like I grew up in the era of Revenge of the Nerds. That was the thing. It was like, what did you had? You had the snotty
totally.
little kid nobody
Well said.
wanted to hang out with. You had Booger the slob. You had the gay guy. And there was like, yeah, these are the social outcasts, and we're going to get together. And that's what I always said. The problem was, is as it being nerd culture, we were so welcoming that we swept these people in, and they weren't here to play a game. They were here to ruin things.
Right.
And it
Yeah,
was hard
right.
for us to
Yeah,
realize.
and that's my. I'm sorry I'm setting her up, guys. Sorry.
Go right ahead.
I just that was always my thing where it's like D&D is not diverse enough. I was like, where the hell have you been?
Right.
Because it has always been a refuge for people that are weird or different or have some. It's always been like that. There's always been people that are, a little bit crazy or whatever it may be, a little bit eccentric. It's always been it's always been diverse. It's always had those kinds of people. Before it went mainstream and became cute chic, these are the kinds of people that would play it.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself or anything, but that's the culture that I remember. Like,
Well, it helped you make friends. That's what it was. You got together, you found a
100%.
common hobby, and it was like rock and roll. We can do this together. And
Yeah,
then, people were
Yeah, like people want to bomb on Gary Gygax every like 2 weeks about something, whatever he said a million years ago. But like I have really clear memories of when he passed away, of going on old school YouTube and seeing these really touching videos of these grown men crying, saying, "I wouldn't have any real friends if it wasn't for D&D." Like that's his legacy. Yep. That's his enduring legacy. It's not whatever he said in a fanzine 30 years ago or whatever. Sure.
Yeah, I like what Peter says here. So he says, I am careful to construct my game descriptions for con events so that expectations are very clear. I don't want people who won't enjoy my game to waste their time at my table. Yeah, it's like, one time I was at a convention going back to, the X card or Lines and Veils and stuff. And there was a younger couple, that was there. Probably one of the youngest couples I had played with, in person at a convention, to start off at. Maybe they were like early 20s, definitely early 20s, and then the rest of us, I was probably one of the oldest people at the table, at the time. I was probably like 55 or so. And, we're sitting there and the guy is running his own game system. And he's going through. We're having a great time. We're like 2 hours and 45 minutes of a 3-hour session in, and then we're really kind of approaching the last big conflict. We kind of know, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, geez, I totally forgot the X cards."
Oh.
And he says,
that's why we were having a good time.
And it was like, does anybody did anybody need to use it? And we're all looking at each other like, no, we're 2 hours and 44. We've survived this long without them.
Like,
we're good. We're
really out the gate. We're out the gate, bro.
You're doing a good job. Don't worry about it. We're all good here, And I was like, was that something that the convention center told them that they had to? And that is another aspect that is probably gone now, right? It was there. They were really trying to force conventions to adopt, if you do not use safety tools at your table, you can't run games here, and that was an element of the gatekeeping and the cancel culture that they were trying to. So again, it wasn't this, you can't do this at my table. I don't want you to do this at your table either. And that's, thankfully, that is kind of, I think that is gone too. Or maybe I'm just going to smaller conventions that you're not going to run into that.
Yeah, you're all on the same page.
It's like, or they're not big enough to have that kind of an influence. Like, I'm sure at Gen Con, they probably had it for briefly, but I think that fell to the wayside real fast.
I think that might have only been in like the indie games on demand section or something like that. It was like, it depended on who was running the room. There was never like a con blanket thing for that, but there's definitely, you have those almost like secular sacraments where they're kind of weeding people out, where they're like, are they going to use the X card? Are they going to ask for people to wear masks at the table? That kind of stuff. Because there was definitely a mask thing the year after the return, because I remember going to Gen Con the year after COVID shut it down, when it was like at a quarter of the attendance. It was wild. It was like a ghost town. But everybody at the year after that was like trying to get people to wear masks at their tables. And then I think they settled on, instead of telling people to do it, they said in the game description, you have to ask, like, can you please put a mask on? And my brother said, like, hey, I'm seeing this pop up in here. Just use the search function and you can just delete all these. And I was like, hey, that's a good idea, because I'm not dealing with that bullshit. And that's how we filtered, because there's like 7,000 events. And if you're going to be one of these guys who's like, hey, can you please wear a mask around me? It's like, get out of here. I'm not wasting my time on that. Especially when you're trying to role play and read people's emotes. No, we're out.
Venture Satanis's X cards are actually positive.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think I saw
them, but
that's positive reinforcement.
I figured about Cards Against Humanity or something.
Yeah, no, they're actual. They're positive reinforcement. It's what would you like to see in the game, not what you want removed from the game. What would you like to see? I want to see more Eldritch horror. I want to see more, sexcapades. I want to see more this or that. Everything is positive, with them.
That's funny. That's actually good.
So
that's a
nothing
good idea.
removes. Everything introduces.
Lord Mateus had a really interesting video a couple months ago called "What's Your Appendix N," and that made me think about like what kind of tone or style that I like the most when I'm running a game or whatever. And I tried to narrow it down. I was like, well, I kind of like, what I really like is grimdark with a sense of humor. So I was like, what movies could I put forward for people that would be a pass or a go for something like that? And I thought Army of Darkness and RoboCop. If you can't hang with RoboCop, probably not going to have a good time.
Brazil.
It's got to have Brazil.
Brazil
exactly.
was another one.
Yeah, totally. I was just like, if there's a pass or go, that's probably, if you're offended by RoboCop, like you're probably that level of satire, then we're probably not going to have a good time.
My last sci-fi, I told the players, anything Paul Verhoeven is on the table.
Oh yeah, do a little bit of that, a little Total Recall,
a little Troopers, absolutely.
Starship Troopers. Yeah.
That's just the right, to me. That's just kind of the right. That I don't know. Maybe I'm an edgelord, or like, where's the edgelord god? Is he in the chat? Maybe I'm an edgelord, but to me, that's just like the best tone I could go for.
I mean, if I thought about like my appendix, then I mean, obviously, it's going to be anything Robert E. Howard.
Oh yeah.
Anything, Tolkien, Howard, Lovecraft. I mean, those are all the big ones. I recently listened to, because now I just do audio books. The eyesight is getting old, so now it's like I can hear, I can't read small type anymore. But I recently listened to Paul Anderson's what's it called? 3 Lions and 3 Hearts.
3 Hearts, 3 Lions.
Yeah. 3 Hearts, 3 Lions. And from what I understand, that was like the inspiration for the Paladin class. And it was awesome. I was like, wow, that was really, really good. And then I tried to listen to the first book of Forgotten Realms and couldn't do it. I was like, what was it called? It's not Casimir. It's something close to that, but I was like, nah, it's just not too intricate, too convoluted. It was like, if I wanted to be that confused, I'll listen to Silmarillion again. So it's like, because that's, the only thing I got out of the Silmarils was that, elves are really assholes. It was like,
right.
I don't know how in AD&D first edition they ended up being listed as genuinely good or anything like that. I was like, not based on how they were portrayed in that book. No way. But I mean, not all of them, but a majority of them were all assholes. So I was like, man, these people are nasty.
Paul Anderson's Broken Sword is the same way. Like, elves are not good. They're really bad. Yeah. So I mean, once I get out of that and I start looking, like I haven't tried to. I tried to read. I tried to read Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser, but I was a teen when I tried to read it, and it didn't really grab me, as being something I was like, oh, this is like incredible stuff. I would have to look to see what else he has on there. Like I loved Ursula Le Guin's Farseer, and the way that magic was handled in there. Like, I haven't read Jack Vance's, that series yet, and I do have it on audio too, so I could actually listen to it first. But I loved her idea of magic and everything like that. That was like, they had spell components and that, and I was like, wow, maybe that's where he got it from. I think that's one of his. I think that's one of the Appendix N books, anyway. Is in there, but there's some stuff in there I didn't like Lord Dunsany. I liked Pangea. That was a great read. I actually read that, and I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. But I don't think you need to read 27 different novels in order to, or 27 different authors in order to be like, oh, well, this is my influence. You can hone that down
to, less than a dozen, let's say, and say, all right, this is what's going to influence my gameplay, or how I run games, or how I think about creating campaigns or worlds or whatever. Earthsea is not in, but Ursula Le Guin is in Appendix N. I'm almost certain.
I gotta
surprised if she wasn't.
Yeah.
I gotta take off, guys. So happy
All right.
channel birthday.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Nice to see you guys.
Always good to see you. Take care.
Yeah.
So it's not. Well, I'm not going to grab a book to see what's in Appendix N right now.
Oh yeah. It's interesting. Talking about this, it reminds me. I played a game called Spark. It was an RPG, one of these indie ones that this guy Jason Pitt did. And one of the things was you did a collaborative kind of world building thing, and you brought in elements that you liked. So you named like a show that you liked or a piece of fiction or whatever. So it almost was like each player picked from their Appendix N, like one piece that they want to see in the world, and then that's how you kind of smash things together. Yeah. I don't know I forget how the system worked out. It might have been garbage, but I did like the idea of that's how you organized it in order to so that you are all on the same page.
Shadow and Son. All right. If she's not, then that's a huge oversight, in my opinion.
Yeah,
a huge oversight.
Sam, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, the Appendix N is one thing. It's cool. It's cool that people have lists of books that they like just because the guy wrote a game that people play. I'm not going to say that he was the most well read or had the best taste.
It's Gygax's appendix, and I mean you don't have to like all the same things that Arneson or Gygax like to enjoy this game.
You would be surprised.
A certain generation. Well, I give exactly one French fried fiddlers. What other folks think of this?
Exactly. I'm of the same opinion. When people start referring to him as Gary as if they knew him, or as if like, oh yeah, me and Gary, we hang out all the time. And it's like, all right, guy, I don't care. Well, I'm not part of the cult. Okay, I don't care.
And there's so much stuff out there. I mean, there's everyone influences everyone. I mean, I'm not a Bro SR guy. I'm not trying to get to Brownstein and the beginning of, the war games from 1968 that predate. No, I'm trying to. I do enjoy the roots of the role playing hobby, but really, at the end of the day, I've got to make a game, run a game, play a game that's enjoyable for everyone at the table, and I think that's one of the problems that we're having in the OSR is there's a generational gap, and now there's like a 3-generation gap with some folks,
right?
And we have to find like you said, what's their appendix, and so is it television? I mean, we're even like the older millennials and the younger Gen Xers are going to talk about things like Babylon 5 and
Guilty, yeah.
Legendary Journey. There, people are going to say, "Who the hell is Xena? I got no idea what the hell you're talking about. Buffy the Vampire Slayer? What's that?"
Yeah.
You're talking to the kids and they're bringing up anime, like different anime and manga that they've read, and it's like, and you get to give them the old. Back in my day, that came on a VHS and a clamshell, and we only had it subtitled, and you had to watch things like Bubblegum Crisis and Appleseed. That was the only thing. And Fist of the North Star.
Right.
So
here's a question for you, Bo. Have you ever unironically used the term "free Kriegspiel" in a conversation?
I have not.
Okay, good. We can hang out then. That's good. Now I see people bring that up, and I'm like, what are they talking about now? And it's this esoteric free Kriegspiel was pretty much that's the fart sniffery way of saying a Braunstein. Yeah, because it's like, it's part of the free Kriegspiel movement.
I never even heard of a Braunstein until I started watching. I mean, mentioned briefly in some pundits' videos, and then it got a deeper dive in Daddy Roll to One, and I think that's the extent of my knowledge on Braunsteins.
Yeah,
that's literally all I know, and I don't even know how accurate those guys are. That's just what I know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I have used FKR. I have used FKR. Yeah, some of those. The Mulvey one, I'll actually look at that and see that has better than that. So inspirational resource material. And I draw inspiration from a lot of different places too. Like I said, with my group, with my Castles and Crusades game, I had I had just finished binge watching Wednesday, right? And so I threw the hide in the game with them, and as soon as they saw the avatar go up, the token go up on the thing, they were like, "That's a hide from Wednesday." I was like, "Yeah, just wait." I mean, it almost wiped them out. they flat it killed like two of them. It almost killed a third, and it kicked their ass. I was like, "Holy cow!" And it's like, yeah, I draw inspiration from TV. I draw it from video games. I'll draw it from comic books. I'll draw it from literature. It's like your Appendix N is not just one medium. It's not just one time frame of books or whatever. You're going to pull stuff, whether you're an old school dungeon master or somebody new. You're going to pull stuff from all over the place. Shadow, it's Wednesday Addams. So it's the series Wednesday Addams with Jennifer Ortega. It's actually, if you like the Addams Family as a kid, back in the probably the 70s and 80s, whenever that was actually on here, you'll enjoy Wednesday. I was surprised. I mean, it's not as woke as you might have thought it could be. You know what I'm saying? So
for a Netflix show, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to for a modern show and considering it was actually very well done. And I was like, I literally watched it in the span of like both seasons in the span of like 3 weeks. It's like I was logging in like 2 or 3 episodes a day. That was during the summertime when I wasn't working, but I was like just engrossed by it. It's really cool.
I was going to say, who's that playing Gomez? It's like Luis Guzman or whatever, because he looks exactly like Gomez looked in the comic strip for the Addams Family.
Oh yeah,
which was surprising.
The comic strip. Yeah, I was going to say not like Raul Julia. Or,
no, not at all.
John
no.
Astin, right? But yeah. So, but yeah, it was a good series. I recommend watching it. It's not as annoying as season 5 of Stranger Things. Let's put it that way. It's like,
I'm a late comer to Stranger Things, and the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things are as good a television I've ever seen in my life.
mm-hmm.
That unexplained, deep, weird Cthulhu aspect of the show, and
Right.
those kids would have been maybe about a year or 2 older than me in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm right there with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to the 3rd season with the Russians, and I was like, this is dumb.
That was a bad season.
I
yeah.
heard that the 5th season has just gone off the rails woke. I'm like, I don't need this crap in my life. Yeah. I don't. So I'm just gonna watch seasons 1 and 2 again and pretend that the rest of them never happened.
1 and 2 and 4 were good because you have the real D&D connection in 4. So you actually have. But when you get to 5, it's like my biggest thing with 5 was like, because as somebody who is a veteran, I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is she berating? First of all, I recognize Linda Hamilton right away. So I was like, all right, that's Linda Hamilton. So she's a general. I was like, okay, whatever. And then she's berating a sergeant for not having learned something in ROTC. And I was like, that's an officer training.
It's not an officer.
Yeah, he's not an officer. I was like, why are they fucking up something as simple as that? Then in the last episode, she's berating a lieutenant, whatever. So, a guy perhaps in his 30s, and she grabs him and throws him against the truck. And she's like almost like chokeslammed him. I was like, what is she, like 70 and 120 pounds? How the fuck is she doing? I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no, she's not. This is not 1982 Terminator. You know,
What do you
she's not in her late 20s, and she was not big then either. I was
No.
like, what the hell? I was like, this is so cringy, you know. And then they're just, I mean, the U.S. Army are the bad guys. I'm like, that would have never been as it's portrayed in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's
Right.
not
Yeah,
even, that's
the
not,
era of Rambo. Yeah, it
yeah.
would not have happened. Yeah.
I was like, why is this, you know, such a bad portrayal of the U.S. military? I mean, sure, they
Yeah.
could have said that they were all CIA or something like that. Then it's like somewhat plausible. But I was like, no, this is, you know, it's just bullshit. It's
Mhm.
like, so that's what I took from it. I was like, this is just bad, and it feels rushed, and I was like, you know, I read some other people's comments on, you know, on what you call on Facebook, where it was like, it's like it's like Game of Thrones season 7 and 8 all rolled up into one.
Oh,
And I was
God.
like, my biggest thing is that how are they going to wrap up the story in a 2-hour last final episode? You know, I don't see how they're going to do it. I was like, there's too many damn loose ends.
Right.
There's no way that they can wrap this up. They created such a weird thing. It's like, oh, it's not just the, you know, it's not just the upside down. It's now the abyss is thrown in there too. It's like the abyss is going to collide with Earth and become
Whatever.
one. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, it just made no sense
Yeah.
whatsoever. I was like, this is just really stupid.
Just end already, you know.
Yeah, it's like, I'm wondering what the Duffer Brothers already have lined up, like the directors of Game of Thrones, that they were going to do a Star Wars trilogy, and that's why they had to wrap
Yeah.
that up as fast as they did.
Yeah, they were
You
like
know?
Battle of Winterfell. Who cares? Put the catapults in front of the cavalry. That's how it works,
Yeah,
right? And you're
yeah,
like,
so
what
it's like-
is this? Zombies move like a tidal wave, don't they? Isn't that how physics works? And you're just like, this is trash.
Yeah. So I was like, it was bad. It really was. Especially the last episode was bad. And I don't even care about his coming out thing and everything. That doesn't bother me. It
Yeah.
was all the other stuff that I was like, you know, I mean, they're going to spend half the time, like 5 minutes on that if they want. They spent a long time on that. And I was like, how are you wrapping up these other things? It's like, don't you people got something to do instead of
Right.
sitting there and
Well,
doing this
reasons for
thing?
Mike being gay all the way back in season 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
that again, the whole that's not the thing. I think my problem is the internet's reaction to it.
yeah,
Like they want Will, not Mike, Will, pardon me. They want Will and Mike to hook up. Like that's
Yeah.
all over Facebook and Instagram
Yeah.
right now. And that is dumber than a bag of hammers.
yeah.
That is
That was-
so. I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay. Like he's gay, and the actor that plays him is gay, and who cares? Let's move on. It's 1985. I hope you don't get AIDS.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the internet's reaction to it has been absolutely gaga.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's been, you know, it's like I said, it's my biggest problem with it is it just feels rushed, and I
Yeah.
don't see how they can
Well-
wrap it up.
Well, isn't that the thing though? They went for the cheap pop, which is, oh, you have the kid come out just at the end of the show, and it's like,
Mhm.
if you wanted this character to be some kind of icon or role model for that community, why wouldn't you have him be gay earlier, and then he could show his strength?
Well, it was
of just being
obvious that he was
this-
earlier, but
sure, but he's just this
but-
weepy mope, and then they're like,
Yeah.
and now he's gay, and then people go,
Yeah.
that's brave, and it's like, I think it would have been, if he was an interesting character that was gay, that would have been a better kind of role model or whatever. But instead, they're just they realize they're just, it's, you know, they're throwing it out to the dogs, you know, they're throwing out the slop to the swine.
Yeah. yeah.
That's all the-
Into the show.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, it's so I draw inspiration from everywhere to get back to that original question, like what is our inspirational you know, things, and yeah, Stranger Things isn't one of them. You know, although I mean, they had so many missed opportunities. The first Stranger Things box set should have been Beck Me. They own it. They can print it. They should have done it.
Yeah. Yep.
But because they're WotC is petrified of having anything that they produce of their own that challenges 5e, that they know that people would flock to something that's real D&D compared to 5e, and that's why they don't do it.
Right.
I
would have bought it. I want a good copy. I want a good clean copy of Beck Me. That would be awesome. But
yeah. No, I bought it.
They don't pay $150 for on eBay or buy a scan that I can't read.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like the rules cyclopedia, there's copies of it, but yeah, it's just a garbage scan, and it's like, give me a cleaned up one and I'll buy it. That's all Osric was. It was a cleaned up version that you could purchase. Now that it's everywhere, Osric is kind of toast. So
Osric is AD&D, right? I mean, I'm not here to necessarily split that hair, but Osric was an AD&D clone.
Yeah, but you couldn't get. But it was printed in the time that like AD&D was impossible to get. That it had like PDFs of it anywhere or whatever. That was the whole project, was like to get it back into people's hands. But now that it's like AD&D is free and available, well, not free, but it's freely available everywhere. Yeah, Osric is kind of, in my opinion, what's the point of it?
Well, aren't they coming out with the second edition of Osric? I think they are.
Which is like, I'm not sure what the hell they were, what would you do with that? I suppose if they go almost like, what was that, Adventures Dark and Deep, where it's like they go a little different direction with it, but then,
I don't know.
It becomes like this here, where it's like more BX clones, but now we're just doing AD&D clones. It's like,
I don't need it.
I don't know. Especially with Hyperborea, it's like, I don't think I need it, guys. I think you got beat to the punch.
I don't think I need it. Yeah.
I have
Adventures Dark and Deep second edition anyway, so I already have my AD&D clone. Mm-hmm. I don't need another one. Yeah. And I have the original Osric. How much more? I only use it as a reference guide. I'm saying, which is what it was designed to be. Was just a reference guide. Yeah. A quick reference guide.
Right. And my first comment was, there's what retro clone am I going to buy? Am I going to buy in 2026? That isn't already available, or isn't that I don't already have a version of it?
No, I don't know what is slated to be new that is a must buy. I mean, I'm curious to see what Deathbringer, Professor Dungeon Master's Deathbringer looks like. I have a feeling it's going to be very much similar to like a index card RPG, Shadow Dark combo kind of thing. Maybe a little bit more gritty than Shadow Dark is, but Shadow Dark is pretty brutal if you play it straight up the way it's written.
Oh yeah.
You'll lose characters in that pretty fast if you play it up, especially if you're really mean and you have things that will put out their torches. They're going to be in a world of hurt. If you play it that way, but it's I don't know what else is supposed to come out. I know Osric second edition is coming out, but that's not something that I'm like, I need to get.
Honestly, I think it's really kind of shaking out. Like I said, post OGL, we still have kind of like the after quakes of that massive earthquake, and we're still like searching around in the dark for the one game that's going to be the lingua franca that everyone's going to flock to. OSC's got a lot of games a lot of modules being published for it, a lot of material, especially with Dolmenwood coming out. There's a lot of hype for Shadow Dark, so it's really like, I think people just got like, if you're like me, you're going to sit and wait and see what people actually play. I have plenty of books. I just got some more books in today. It's like, there's especially when you're crowdfunding things and they're delayed. It's like, it's like, I just get constant Christmas. These things just show up.
I'm still waiting for like 4 more books from Troll Lord Games. I'm still waiting on. Well, actually, it's just the Adventurer's Backpack, and I think the 3 new updated, the 3 new reforged core rule books. Mm-hmm. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to replace the old Monsters and Treasures with the new one, because the new one isn't even. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm I'll probably put them on my shelf and then just put the other ones, because I'll use the Monsters and Treasures, the older one anyway, because I just think it's indexed better. But and I like the spells, the way that they're written in the old one. I don't care that they have the the OGL names to them. They have blocks, they have stat blocks for spells. The new ones don't, so I don't see you utilizing it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is out there that that is like, I must have this. I mean, the Hyperborea source book, that is a must have.
Oh yeah, the Chromarium book. Yeah, once
Yes.
that's we beat that to death. Where it's like there are certain people who are just creators, and if they make something, it's like, well, I have to own that because that guy has something brilliant in his brain that he just turns into gold. So I need to always buy
that is one book that absolutely getting that.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else for 2026 that I'm like, I have to have that. So. Yeah. So to Bo's point, there's nothing really on the, on the side. I guess, like OSC, I already have the advanced version of it, so they're supposed to come out with a new version of it next year as well. But I just got the new one. Yeah, I just got it. It's new for me. It's like, so I'm good. I'm good with that. I don't need to get another one.
Yeah, Edgelord pretty much as far I'm kind of with you there with D20 stuff. Like I'm not looking to spend any money on it, but if it's for like Hyperborea, sure. Probably like the occasional Kevin Crawford book if it's a setting that I like, because he did do a post-apocalyptic one. It was like Ashes Without Number, and I was like, I'll pass on that.
Too, yeah.
I got Cities because I'm a big cyberpunk fan, and I did like that he added in magic and fantasy races. So if you want to do Shadowrun and not have to run it with abysmal mechanics, you can do it, even though they are D20. But it's like that guy's D20 system is so simple and streamlined. It's like, I always say that's the second best way of designing a game is you have the mechanics be nice and light and out of the way. Yeah. And then they're only there to bring up the randomness.
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, I'm much more interested at this point in like interesting supplements.
Yeah.
Got all of the engines, the core books that I will maybe never have to buy another one if I don't want to.
Right.
I'm kind of interested in seeing what's going to come out of Emperor's Choice this year. I know they got a bunch of stuff that's supposed to be on the horizon.
What were they developing again? Because I keep hearing about them.
The Arduin stuff.
Oh, the Arduin guys. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
I'm always kind of interested to see what comes out of the Red Room, even though I think a lot of their stuff is half finished. I think they got a lot of good ideas, but then they kind of abandoned them. But I think they're going to come out with some new stuff for Savage Swords. We've been playing Savage Swords for the last 5 months now, pretty regularly. And there's a lot to like about how it streamlines things. It needs a revamp on its magic system, but just because it's so impossibly hard to get a spell off successfully, without heavy role playing, which is fine. That's kind of what I like anyway. But yeah, I think and then anything that might be coming out for Matt Temkin over at Pharaohs and Borderlands, anything especially new, module wise, adventure wise, setting wise, I'm interested in. But I've got I got so much stuff, especially the stuff I save as PDFs. I've got a whole SSD that's just gigabyte after gigabyte after gigabyte of saved stuff going all the way back to the whole run of Dragon Magazine stuff going back that far. It's got to really excite me to get me to spend money, especially on a Kickstarter.
I think Greg Gillespie should come out with a setting guide as well, like develop his own setting.
Yeah,
that would be something I'd jump on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what was smart with Kelsey doing the second Kickstarter, just being like,
Yeah.
okay, now this is going to be like a laser focused setting. Because
Yeah.
the zines were cool though; they gave you like a little snippet. It was
Oh
like,
yeah.
here's a region that fits a theme with some classes that fit the theme.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that's
And
a
then
different region.
Yeah,
and,
the Western Reaches is basically going to give you like a world map where you can put the 6 zines on the
cool.
world map, and so you can kind of say, all right, that's how it's kind of set up.
There you go.
You know, so yeah, I think that's a smart move to do it. You know, and that's definitely going old school because it's doing hex crawls. It's it's definitely an old school game. It drives me nuts when they try to say, "Oh, well, it's 5e." I was like, "It's not 5e." No way. You know, they keep on saying, "Oh, it has advantage and disadvantage." I was like, "That is from Into the Odd." It's from it's not Monty Cook. Who was it? Jonathan Tweet came up with that back in 1992.
Yeah.
All right. So 1992 is not old school.
Well, no, it basically 30 years or more is old school.
Depends on which grognard you're talking to, I guess.
10 years, 4 is going to be old school, right?
What's that, Goppo?
Sorry.
If we wait another 10 years, 4th edition will be old school.
Well, of course.
No.
Listen,
people disregard 4E
will
like
eventually
altogether.
become Paul. I've told this story.
Yeah.
You've heard my story, right?
Which is
Sunday driving, listening to an AM station one time because FM wasn't coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm there, hey, welcome to the Morning Oldies, right? This was like a couple of years ago. Welcome to the Morning Oldies. And what comes on is Motley Crue. And I was like, holy shit, I'm old.
Yeah.
Right? Because Motley Crue was playing on the Morning Oldies. And that is when I had that epiphany that I was like, old school is anything that is 30 or more years old. All right. Just based on music, based on comics, based on, once it becomes Silver Age, you're starting to push old school, right?
Yeah.
So Silver Age is 25 years. All right. So it's like, it's eventually 5e will be old school, probably around 2045, 2050. 5e is going to be old school. All right. So what is old school keeps on moving along,
Sure. Well, it's just like OSR too. Like there are people who are like, it's hard to nail down the exact definition for it. I think that's the other thing too. For as many creators as there are with it and different groups as there are for it, there's that many definitions for it too. But there's like, people realize that there's like something underlying to it that unifies it, but nobody's going to agree on it. It's all over the place. So is that the Dallas RPG? Because I was thinking about that as I was getting into my car leaving work today. I was like, didn't they have an RPG?
The TV show, yeah.
The TV show
had an RPG.
Well, don't you want to play a backstabbing corpo type?
I do. I kind of want to put on a big old Stetson hat.
So anyway, it's
Trent Reznor winning Grammys. Well, I mean, he already won an Oscar, so yeah, interesting.
Hey, thanks a lot, Takato. It's it's been a great 9 years, and because of people like you as well, and running into you at a convention, at several conventions now, playing in my games at conventions and everything like that. That's been the height of my 9 years is going to conventions and meeting some of these people. Peter, that was on earlier. I don't know if he's still on, but I played in Peter's game at Rising Phoenix. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. And it was supposed to be Aliens, and I was so stoked. I was like, oh, I'm going to finally get to play Aliens. And so I go and I, go to the table to sit down, and unfortunately, the guy that was running the game wasn't able to make it to the convention. So Peter stepped in, and he was like, well, he didn't have Aliens to run, but he was running Savage Worlds, in his own adventure that was a very alien-esque adventure, right? And so sat through that, and just the way he laid everything out on the table, and he had these, he had these place cards for every player where it had your name was on the front, or your character was on the front, and then you had just the most important, player facing info, on the back of the card. And and then he had these like plastic cutouts of the various monsters and creatures that we were going to encounter too. I mean, he did an incredible job. And
like
really, huh?
Like standees?
Yeah, like standees, like
that's old school.
Yeah, but like plastic, but the one, like the big monster that we were fighting at the very end was like this, like it was like 8 inches tall, standee, and like almost like 6 inches wide and everything. They were awesome. And he taught me what it is to be a convention game master that puts on a display on that table that is the selling point for the game that he's running, and the selling point for him as a game master, because, and that was the one thing about that convention that I really love, was because I walked around that convention floor and there was probably about 40, 50 tables, and just seeing how everyone had their table set up where you can tell what game they were running, and how engaged everybody was at the tables, and every game was on display, and I was like, wow, that's like the greatest advertisement, better than having vending tables around. It was like every table was like a vending table, just showcasing the game system that they were running. And that's why I was like, you know what? Now, luckily, I was running at that convention. I was running Blade Runner from the box set, so it had all the maps and all the different handouts and everything. So it was a great display too, So I was like, from now on, that's all I'm going to do, is I'm going to focus also on display at the table.
How do you do that? Okay, elaborate, because you said that you went to a convention and they were displaying. Did they have banners? Did they have signs?
No. It was just a table setup. It was just the table setup and how the table was set up to look like. I wish I could pull. Let me see if I can open it up and show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, please, because I'm curious. I'm trying to have a hard time, seeing it in my head.
Yeah, let me see if I can share one of my own pictures of table setup. Table. Let me see.
It is almost 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock here, Central Time. I might have to.
Yeah, it's 10 for me too. I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, but I've got 3 kids upstairs that might want something.
Yeah. I will. I'll share it with you some other time. Yeah, because I'm gonna wrap up soon too. How did I describe this thing? Was it my table? Let me see if it's my table. I don't know why my pictures are coming up this way.
Oh, Mike, that's what I was going to ask. Since you're one of the Lamentations guys, I was going to ask if you read Towers 2, because that's an adventure that the lead singer of Gwar wrote for Lamentations.
Oh.
Which is, kind of wild. It's like, interesting. I think he might have passed away between writing it, though, because I think he had a heroin overdose or something. So,
yes.
As you do as a rock star, I suppose.
Well, it's one of the 3 acceptable ways to die, right? If you're a rock star, you could die. You could die in a plane crash.
Yep.
You could die of a heroin overdose.
Yep.
Oh, I know.
Or a tour bus accident, I guess.
But only if you're under 30.
Yeah.
I dropped a miniature on the floor and now I can't find it.
You
Doesn't
want
help. My floor is. I'm in the man cave is still unfinished. It's a gray concrete floor. If you drop a gray plastic mini on a gray concrete floor,
Yes.
I'll step on it. That's all.
So I was going to say step lightly because you don't want to crush that.
I was just kind of just assembling some plastic minis while we were talking, and I was looking for a piece, and I found the piece, and then I dropped the big piece on the floor, and yeah. Oh well. I was gonna paint tonight, but I guess it's already 8:00. I'm not gonna paint. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't find it. Let's see if I have it under Shadow Dark. Let's see.
The pictures, right? Yeah, you should. If you find that, you should post it up on your community page.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's on my community page, but it's like months ago.
Buried.
Yeah, it's buried months ago.
Because I have not been to see the difference. I think between the far west, I mean, Utah, Arizona, Wyoming, Nevada, is that it's hours of driving between population centers. So to have a big convention here is just so impractical. They've got Comic-Con here, but it's not remotely the same thing. But to have a game, I would love to go to a game convention like that, and to have that kind of experience. But they just don't have them here. It's not a thing in. They've got one or two conventions here, but they're mostly board games or card games.
I was going to say that one girl runs. What is that? There's a retreat that they do out in Utah, but it's not really a convention. It's really I think 50 people show up to it.
Right. Well, they've got one called SaltCon. They have down Bryce Canyon. It's they have it at a resort. I mean, not at a resort necessarily, at a national park.
Yeah.
But again, to sit down at a hotel convention room and have 30 tables going at once, and to have a diversity of games where it's not all just you've got that whole room where it's nothing but Pathfinder, and you've got this whole room that's nothing but 5th edition D&D.
Yeah. And that's usually how I sort my schedule. I go, okay, Pathfinder and D&D, and I just kind of wipe them off my schedule because I want to try something new if I go to a convention. So,
when I was a kid, they had a couple of big ones down in Phoenix and Tucson. They had one called CopperCon. I remember it was there'd be 2 or 3 days, and I remember my mom dropped me off, 14 years old, with a backpack full of BattleTech miniatures, and then my set of dice and a notebook, and the first time I played the Thassa Star Trek was at a convention. The first time I played a lot of games the first time. I tried to do one AD&D, 1 2 or 3 hour block of BattleTech, and then 1 or 2 new games, and then hang out at the hospitality suite and drink as much soda as I can.
Yeah.
But that's what I did when I was. And they just don't have those anymore, at least not here. I found it.
There you go.
Now it's got dust bunnies on it. But yeah, I don't know what York, and I think about the conventions and I watch like Richard's videos or like Tenkar's videos, and they're like, yeah, I drove an hour away and there was a convention. Drove an hour this way, there was another convention. And I know there's some exaggeration there because you guys go to North Texas Con and get those.
I wish. I got to fly to get to there, yeah.
But I just it's I don't want to say envious because I try not to be envious, but I do get a little of a little sense of longing to go to a convention and just spend 2.5 days, come in on a Friday night, spend Friday night, and then all day Saturday, then a half day on Sunday, just playing games and spending way too much money.
Right. That's the thing. I'm fortunate since I'm in the Chicago area. It's I could go usually within 4 hours. There's half a dozen cons that are on the larger side I can get to easily. So
Here you go, Bo. I found it. So I'm going to share.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's. Now, if you just make a little banner and tape it to the front of the table.
Yeah. If I
Mhm.
yeah. Now, obviously, this is a much smaller table than what you would have at a convention, but this is basically what they see. So I have the this particular adventure, which was written by Tom Wilson. All right, the Slumbering City, which was set in Conan's Hyborian Age, and so that's why I have the Hyborian world map on the table, and then all of these characters are set to Conan's world, including Conan. If you wanted to make that a playable character, I use the so I obviously have the GM screen on the table so they can see the Shadow Dark thing there. I bring the collector's edition book. All right. Then I have the coins are for their token system that they have there. But like I said, everything is displayed out there. So when someone is walking by, they'll either recognize it immediately as Shadow Dark, or they'll ask about it, or
Right.
they'll be like, hey, what's going on here? What's all of these different manipulatives that we have there? I have another one where I have the actual cards laid out like it was almost like a it was my own adventure that I had written, and so I had it on index cards, including the images that were taking place. So based on, it was almost like a story web, but with images. So like when the players chose to go, route A, then there would be images for route A, and then if they chose D, then it showed those images and going forth. And so it was a total of like 36 different cards and images and everything that would be laid out on the table based on which path they had chosen to take, and so that was there as well. And, when I set up that table, it looks a little bit more, a little bit different from that. But yeah, that's what I mean by making a table interesting for people to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
So how much money did you out of pocket would it take to set up something like that? I mean, not including game material, because you're going to buy the game, right?
Oh no. The only thing that was in there was I had the Hyborian map from the Conan 2D20. I had the coins cost me, it was something like 70 coins, like they were actual metal coins. That was like $15.
Okay.
And then the rest is all stuff I just printed from. The adventure module was $20 or whatever
Right.
it was. But yeah, no, everything all said and done, less than $50.
And one more question. You said this was a limited edition map. How much of your accoutrement there is readily available? If a player shows up at this convention, how much of it could he or she buy? Right. I kind of think that's important.
They could get the regular. They could get the regular standard edition of Shadow Dark for what, like $60?
Right.
That's how much that book goes for. You can get any printed map for Hyborian Age if you wanted to. Those coins, like I said, was on eBay for like $16.
Right. Tokens. I think that's best. Because I think that there's so many people, and I'm kind of guilty of it too. They kind of fall into the almost like hipster when it comes to gaming. Oh, you can't even get this anymore. This is entirely unavailable. You had to be on the Kickstarter. It was only open for 12 hours in 2015. If you missed it, that's it. And a lot of stuff's available if you want to, go sailing the high seas for it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I've been doing lately. I mean, I've bought a lot of stuff, but I've got a lot of basically pirated PDFs too.
Yeah, if something is out of print, then where else are you going to go? You know what I'm saying?
You check the Trove, RIP
yeah.
the Trove. Yeah.
Yeah, and Anna's Archive.
Yeah. But
I kind of want to encourage. I was saying the one thing that the OSR could benefit from would be, I mean, again, it's that lingua franca, that unifying game. But if there's not a unifying game, at least if the dungeon tubers that are left, whatever, and it's kind of a dying term, would promote games that are available. I've said when I make videos, I want to promote a game that's readily available,
Yeah.
and easy to promote.
Yeah. Well, but like all of those games I just mentioned, like you can still get Shadow Dark. Obviously, you can still get Fallout. You can still get Blade Runner. You can still get what else am I like Hyperborea?
Right.
Mifrog.
So, yeah, well, yeah, you can still get Mifrog, but I don't think you could run that at certain conventions. You won't be allowed to run that.
Right.
You know, solely based on reputation alone. You know, although I mean, I'll bust out Chalt at a convention just to see. You know,
and those are nice books to have on the table. They're beautiful books.
At the conventions, it won't be a problem. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the conventions I go to, it won't be a problem at all.
There may or may not be elements of Chalt in my upcoming Burrows and Borderlands game.
Yeah. Oh, there should be.
There should be.
That's a great setting. That's a great setting for anything that's kind of Gonzo. That is Gonzo. So.
Well, again, maybe not the whole world, but a village or some characters, some elements, some Gonzo science fantasy.
Yeah, I have Recon Questo as well. All three of them right behind me. So,
well, I see. As far as the Shadow saying, the reason why I'm saying lingua franca is just because I think it's mostly because it goes to my thing with the clones. You know, we don't want more BX clones, and every time I bring up no more BX clones, somebody invariably says in the comments, people should focus on printing more adventures. Naturally, that's how it should be. You should be making adventures. You should be making creative, cool stuff like that instead of copying what's been done in the past before. The problem is to make a living out of that, you have to have people that buy it. So that, and everybody's waiting to see, like, all right, what are people going to actually play? There's a lot of people who are like, well, I'm hearing a lot of things about whatever. What were these two that were brought up now? Arduin, and then there's the other one, the other D&D, or Burrows and Borderlands. Those are the two that I keep hearing floating around, and I'm like, there's already OSE, there's already Shadow Dark, there's already all these other systems. So it's like I'm on a wait and see for those for about 5 years after they hit market to see if anybody's even playing them, or if people are going to just play them because it's like, hey, have you heard of this? I bet not. And then they play it for a year, and then they never play it again.
Well, it's all D&D.
Yeah, and they play it and they go, all right, cool. Yeah, the little hipster vibe I got off of it's gone. Now I'm going to go back to playing D&D just like everybody else. And it's like,
I could definitely see myself going back and running Beck Me again. Yeah. I could definitely see myself going back to running Beck Me again, or AD&D First Edition again. Probably Beck Me first before AD&D First Edition.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I'm tied into running Dragon Slayer for at least a year or more. Now at conventions you have to run games that work really well at conventions. And certain games run really well at conventions, and others do not. DCC without really converting it does not run well at conventions. You have to take so much out of it.
Yeah. Well, the problem with DCC too is most of the stuff you see at conventions is like, hey, you guys want to run a funnel? It's like, yeah, I've already done that 2 or 3 times. And,
that's what they run at conventions is funnels.
Yeah,
they don't run their full blown. You're not running. Jack Vance's.
The Dying Earth ones.
Yeah.
You're not playing an epic game at a convention.
You could play an epic game for an epic adventure at a convention if it's designed to fit within a 4-hour time frame. Yeah, you can have a pretty epic, adventure, but but it has to be tailored to that. It's got to be tweaked to fit that style of gameplay. And that's what some people don't understand. When they go to a convention for the first time, and they're like, "What?" I'll mention him by name. Like when Scott played in my game, Scott Garibay played in my game at Age 2. It was a Shadow Dark game, and it was a Conan, Robert E. Howard, esque game. One I wrote myself, adventure I wrote myself, and it was written in Robert E. Howard style. In other words, it was designed that they would not get the MacGuffin at the end. You know what I'm saying? It was like basically as soon as they saw the thing, they either got wiped out by the big boss or they had to flee and the whole place collapsed around them because, they shattered the mystique of the thing, right? And most Robert E. Howard stories ends with Conan getting out with the girl, but nothing else, nothing else to show for it,
Right.
And so, but what really shocked him was the fact that so many player characters died. So I had 7 player characters. It was really designed for 6, but he was the 7th player. And 4 of them died in the second to last scenes of the adventure. Like we were around the 3.5 hour mark, of a 4-hour session. And 4 of them died on one bridge, on one ice bridge. They just kept on falling off the damn bridge. It's like, all right, you fall to your death, kind of thing. And he's sitting there. I'm looking at his expression, and he's like stunned. And he's like, wow. And they're all having a blast. I mean, the other player, the players, even though their characters are dying because they're rolling like crap, and I'm sitting there like, damn, switch up dice. You rolled like 3 ones in a row. It's like, get a new die. Stop rolling that thing. And when it was all said and done, they all had a great time, except for Scott. And Scott was like, I can't believe that so many, like you let so many player characters die. And it was like, it's what the dice.
Yeah, what do you mean let?
It's like what the dice dictated.
Yeah.
It was like, and one of them, he basically threw himself. I gave him every crutch possible, and he chose, I'm just going to walk across this ice bridge and, not grab a hold of any of the ropes that they laid out already and whatnot. And,
Right.
But I was like, it's just, that's welcome to convention games.
Yeah.
Convention games, players play bold.
Yeah.
And convention games, you play it straight. Every roll is in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're playing it straight. The dice determine. And, that's just the way it goes. And he was just stunned. He was stunned that's how and he was like, oh no, this is terrible. There should be more of this and that. And, there were pre-gens and there were this and against pre-gen. I was like, everybody uses pre-gens at conventions.
He's free to run his own games too.
Yeah.
There's always those people who have no skin in the game, and then they
But
go,
then
"You
that's
should
just the whole
have
game
done this."
putting up his nose, see his
So it was like, and I tried to explain it to him. I was like, Scott, you just don't understand convention play, and he's like, no, that's not, real, that's not real how you're supposed to run games at all.
No true Scotsman.
No, it was like, no, that's convention play. It's a totally different way.
Yeah.
Totally different animal than running any other kind of place. It's not the same as running at a gaming store, because those players are expecting to come back at a gaming store. Players at the convention table are not expecting to ever sit back at that table again, Right. And I've had players come back to me specifically because, at the next convention at the following year or whatever, I'd be like, oh, great, I'm glad to be at your table. because they
That's
had fun.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Well,
about
that
having
was
fun.
that was one thing for con schedule building. That was one that like I was like, oh, I should totally switch to this. You could sort by GMs. I played with this guy and it was great fun. And then that's what I started doing. So at GaryCon, there's a guy who runs FOSSA Star Trek, and I think I've been in it for like 7 years in a row because I was like, this guy, he'll make sets for the miniatures when you go on the ships and all the cool stuff. Like he goes the extra mile with it. And we all play, like, it's always the same guys, like a group of dudes from New York and me show up and we all play the same characters. And it's like a reunion every year. And we're like, this guy, everything he runs is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, Shadow Dark is a great and BX in general. Yeah, they're just awesome games for that. And believe it or not, like things like Fallout was a great convention game, a lot of fun. Both running it and the people playing it.
And that goes into the Appendix N, since that was a video game. You're going to have kids jumping in on it. So,
yeah.
Really good to go. My wife
Blade Runner was a great convention game too. Surprisingly,
you got a bounce, Bo?
I got it. Yeah, it's already.
I got to run too. So, hey everybody, thank you so much for joining. It's been great. It's been a great 9 years. Looking forward to year 10 in 2026. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at a convention sometime soon. And I'll be back to my regular video scheduling sometime tomorrow afternoon. Now that my mic is working and apparently the sound quality is much better than last couple of days. So thanks a lot, Paul, as always, for dropping in. And you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.